Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan, live from Peoria, Arizona. And it is a little bit nipply out here. I will say that right now. Yesterday was a perfect made-to-order day. It's a little bit chillier. It's a little bit clearer outside. There's very few clouds, which means it's going to be blazingly hot here in about an hour and a half. But we are here, and we are very happy to be here this morning. I'm Woodsy. To my right is Paul Reindl, the executive producer of the Ben and Woods program. Good morning, Paulie.
Kind of right in front of you.
Dead center. Yeah, at 11 o'clock from me right now. To Paulie's right is Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning. I went with the shirt sleeves this morning knowing it's going to get warmer, and I didn't want to carry around my sweatshirt all day like I was yesterday, so figured just leave it back at the Airbnb, which we are now into. Yeah. Clean, fine. Much better experience than it was our arrival night.
You know, I learned at a fairly young age, you can always take layers off if you have them, right? So I can take the sweatshirt off. I can go throw it in the car.
You could.
If I wanted to.
The car's way out there,
It's like 100 yards from here.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know you're cold. I can see the goosebumps on your arms right now. I can see them.
I feel dad strong, though, when you're cold out here, like tough and
yeah,
like nothing gets to you. The elements cannot affect me this morning.
Does being able to withstand the cold make you tough?
Yes,
does
absolutely.
It? Okay.
It's the only way I can be tough. I'm not tough in any other way. So withstanding the cold is my nod to being tough when I'm really not tough in any other sense of the word.
It's like the guy that can eat really spicy food and calls you a P word because you can't.
No,
you're like, God, I admire you. You're so tough. You ate those ghost pepper wings, and I feel like you could take on the world now. And yes, I am a giant P because I can't eat them. I get mine mild. Paulie and I had a few mild wings last night. We did last night, so we got out of here yesterday, went out to the backfields, which was awesome. Love the backfield scene here. You ever get a chance to come out to spring training? I mean, honestly, going to the games is fine. It's whatever. Watching these guys practice is just the greatest experience. Watching them hit balls out. Here comes Xander Bogaerts right now. He's walking in for the day. He was in the group yesterday. It was Xander, Manny, it was Campy, and it was Tatis, and they were just pounding balls yesterday. It was incredible to see. We talked to Jesse Agler yesterday, and he goes, look, obviously he sees a lot out here. He goes, watching Manny pick balls at third is like the dream. That's all. It's like watching Picasso in his studio with a paintbrush. It's just crazy to see. So if you ever get a chance to do that out here, do that.
Did Xander just do the pretend to be on his phone thing? We couldn't ask him like, hey, sit down, join us right now. He just did that, didn't he?
We are essentially Girl Scouts here. And he just got out of his car, walked in, he heard me mention his name, and he goes,
grabs his phone.
6 or 7, either or, whatever you want to do. That's fine. No, that's cool. No, I'll be there. Yeah, that's good. And then walk right past us.
Oh, hey,
that was 100% a fake phone call. I'm going to ask him later if we get him on. He did, didn't he?
He actually may be joining us later, we've been told. So we have now a topic to discuss.
That is he fake phone called us. I can't believe it. We
weren't even going to ask him to sit there. We were just saying hi as he walked in.
I think that's a first.
That son of a bitch.
Yeah, that was totally
at
a
least
fake
that we've
call.
noticed.
That's unbelievable. So we did that. We went to the game yesterday for a few innings. It was a lot of fun. Went home and chilled, and then Benny had to go back to work. Paulie and I ordered a pizza and some wings, and I felt pretty much like I was going to vomit.
It was not good.
I felt pretty much like I was going to vomit most of the night.
Did you get a burger and cheesecake instead, though, when you tried to order your wings? No. Remember when Paulie got a burger and cheesecake?
That's one you're going to want to set up in advance. It's probably
it's a very
inside joke.
Hey, tier ones are the inside of the inside. They know what I'm talking about.
But I laid in bed, and I had read years ago, if you're nauseous, count backwards from 100. And I was lying in bed last night. Now, mind you, I've got the room to myself, away from the wife and kids, had some time on my hands. And I'm laying there going, all I'm going to do is vomit. All I'm going to vomit in this bed in the middle of the night. I ended up counting down from 100. I made it to about 30, and the nausea finally passed.
So it worked.
It worked, but I'm laying there just going, all right, Like, I just want a normal, nice meal. Tonight should be a good one because we're going to go with the skipper to P.F. Chang's, and they've never let me down at P.F. Chang's.
I'm just glad you didn't vomit because I'd worry about the next visitors to the Airbnb to arrive
with my vomit-soaked sheets that they had to wash themselves.
About the house. So.
It is really turning into quite an expensive trip for your old pal Woods here. You heard this yesterday, right? I think this is the one part of the live stream you missed. So when we checked into the Airbnb the other night and everything was not ready, it was unkempt, and the cleaning people were going to come and clean it, and so we went to the Hampton Inn. But we shot the video for our Peoria Cribs edition, and I was in some very nice joggers that my wife had bought me from Viore. They're very nice, very cozy, and I had my "Baseball is the Best" shirt on, our Sarah Lang's shirt to support ALS research, which is one of my favorite T-shirts.
I know you love that one.
Butter soft. So at the end of the bit, I jumped into the pool in full clothes, anything for my comedy, right? And so I jump in and I take this stuff off and I wring it out and I put it in the dryer. Good morning. We'll see you soon. I wring it out and I put it in the dryer at the Airbnb, start the dryer. Now, I left it in there because we went to the Hampton Inn. We came back yesterday. It's gone.
Oh, the cleaning people removed it.
It's gone.
They must have thought it was from the old,
it's gone.
The previous tenants, and they thought, "What is this soaking wet crap in the dryer?"
Just for the wreck, just for giggles, I'm down about $1,000, and there's not a casino
I'm
in
sure
sight.
There's a generic Airbnb lost and found where all Airbnb lost stuff goes that you can go and claim it later if you want to sort through everything left behind.
Nothing like going on a business trip and spending. By the time we're out, I'll be $1,500 down out of my own pocket. So that's been very cool so far. But yeah, man, that's where I was at with that yesterday. So not great. It's not been great, but it's going to be a beautiful day.
I thought the best part of yesterday, we were out on the back fields, and if you saw it, we posted it on social media. But one of our tier ones, who was it? It was
our friend Beatrice.
Beatrice, yes, and their son came over, and they said he does the best Sam Levitt impersonation. You're going to hear it. You got to hear it. So we bring him on over. I get out the phone. Woodsy grabs the microphone as though it's an interview with Sam Levitt Jr. And if you haven't heard this, you have to hear how sharp this impression is.
What time you want to play it?
Sam Levitt, you want to tease it?
Let's tease it.
All right, we can tease it.
Stay on
for it. Like here.
Let's just do it now. Let's just do it now. Yeah, this is fantastic. We're going to have Stephen Wilson coming back here in a couple of minutes. So listen to this and tell me if it is not a spot-on version of our own Sammy Levitt.
Hey guys, it's Woodsy live from spring training. I'm joined by Sam Levitt Jr. Sam, how are you?
Pretty good right now. Everything's going quite well here at spring training. It's a beautiful sunny day here at spring training. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Who are you going to be looking forward to seeing today?
Well, Fernando Tatis Jr. playing right field is a great thing for the San Diego Padres. And Manny Machado, hopefully he can come back pretty soon.
Sammy, any other insight on the 2024 season? What do you expect from the Pods this year?
Well, I expect there to be a lot of south down for the San Diego Padres, but hopefully they can dig their way up into the postseason.
Sam, good talking to you, buddy.
Nice talking to you.
Have a good one.
Kid's unbelievable.
Got the mannerisms. He is definitely Sam Levitt Jr.
Well, and again, the best part about all of it is we showed the video to Sam Levitt, and he almost peed his pants laughing. I mean,
I've never seen him laugh.
He had like the hands on the knees, the bent over thing, and it was incredible. And listen, we in this business are all full of ourselves, and we think we're so smart, and nobody has takes like I do. I'm the smartest, and I'm a genius, and I can't laugh at myself. Sammy Levitt, I love Sammy Levitt. It made me love Sammy Levitt even more. The fact that he was able to take that in stride and have a good time with it. It was incredible. It's not something you run along.
There's something special, though, that you've made a connection enough with your audience in just, 2 years that he's been here.
100%.
That even the youth of Padres fandom has taken that, and I love Sammy, and he can do an impression. He worked on that, obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
He's been practicing that. And
Jeff in the chat says, "Can we get Sammy to interview Sammy Jr.?"
If he's still here today,
if we see that kid, we have to make that happen.
We got to get them together. I'm actually bummed.
I will call Sam Levitt wherever he is at in the backfield. I'll get your ass over here.
I'll DM Beatrice and see if she's still in town, and see if they can make that happen. But so yeah, we're live here this morning. We should have a really, really good show for you today. Again, it's a little bit wheels off because we've got interviews scheduled, and guys get sick, and we move things around. And listen, guys are rolling into camp. We're going to try to get
guys get here early.
They get here early. They get here late. We're going to try to get everybody that we can for you guys. Look, we want to talk to them too. I mean, we don't get a chance during the season working mornings to talk to these guys a lot. So this is kind of our shot, and we want to make sure we get to shoot the breeze with these guys as much as we can. But we will be having dinner with the skipper tonight. I'm excited about that. I just, he came on yesterday, and I thought as he's done the entirety of spring training, he's done a really great job talking to the media. He's saying all the right things, certainly. But he was saying to me after the interview, he goes, I always feel weird when I talk about, my old team. And I go, don't, man. Those baseball stories are baseball stories, and our audience loves the baseball stories. The one he told about Pujols last night was incredible. So hopefully we get a lot more of those tonight.
I think he feels like it's taboo. You don't want to talk about your ex too much.
Yeah. Makes sense.
With your new boyfriend/girlfriend. But
Hannah loves it when I talk about all my exes.
I don't feel in this instance. That's, that was his formative. I mean, he was with the Cardinals organization for 25, 30 years.
Right.
I mean, this is where he grew up and learned all of his baseball, essentially. So he brings a lot of that with him, but he also wants to build something special here. You can tell how important it is to build something equally special with the Padres. And, it's not Cardinals loving to acknowledge that they have fared well as an organization in their history. And you could do worse than to emulate what the St. Louis Cardinals have done, over the past few decades.
My wife just put in the chat, how's Heather, Steven? I don't know. I haven't talked to her, but probably pretty great if I had to imagine. So yeah, I just said, hey, don't worry about it. I said, you keep those stories coming. They're phenomenal. Really good baseball man, obviously, and probably got some pretty good yarns to spin. So we'll keep you guys in the loop. Keep you guys in the loop about what goes down tonight.
All right. So Stephen Wilson is here. I'd imagine he'll be coming back out fairly shortly, sometime here in our first hour. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll let you know what other guests we expect to have joining us today. Should be a little bit more than yesterday. This is how it always goes.
Yeah.
First day, everyone's like, oh, yeah, hi, I'll get you.
I'll get you
later. We get one or two people. Yesterday, Jake, Sugar, they were both great.
Phenomenal.
Mike Schilt. We had Mud Grant on yesterday. We had Jesse
Agler.
Agler on yesterday. Today, we should have a few more players stopping by. I'll keep an eye out for guys like Bob Scanlan as well. And then tomorrow will be pandemonium chaos on the last day. But we will let you know who we've got expected, who should be joining us, what's coming up on the program today. We'll talk about yesterday's game, observations. We did go, not the whole game, but we did go for the first few innings yesterday against the Guardians. Talk about that coming up next as well. It's Ben and Woods. We got Italian Paul Frank back in the studio.
There he is.
Frank, it's good to have you back again. Good morning
Love
to you.
Frankie.
Let you get us to some traffic with Kelly, and then off and running here on a Tuesday morning live from the Peoria Sports Complex. Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Benowitz back live with you from the Peoria Sports Complex, and this is why we are here. This is why we are sitting on the back patio as players walk in. They sit down, they join us, and we are joined right now by new Padres catcher Kyle Higashioka. Kyle, we had a chance to talk on the phone, but it's great meeting you in person. Good seeing you here in Arizona. How you been?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
It's our pleasure. We just saw Brett Sullivan walk by. Some of the guys have been checking in this morning. How has it been for you? First camp, new state for the first camp, new team, bunch of new faces and all that. How's it been so far?
It's been great.
Good.
I feel like I've been settling in well with the guys and the staff, and it's kind of like business as usual still, but there's just a lot of new faces, which is actually great because it hasn't been much of an adjustment period, and I feel like I'm just fitting right in with the way things are working.
So my partner, we've been together 6 years, and there's still people we've worked with in the entire time. He still has no idea. Will it take you 6 seasons?
Learn everybody's name. It's so hard.
Will it take you 3? How does that's got to be tough though?
He's a catcher. That's he's got to know everybody.
Hey, bud, you fastball, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, you have the names and numbers.
I feel bad if I don't know somebody's name when I walk past them. So it's like
stressful.
I just try to learn a few new people every day.
There you go. It's a good way to do it.
And we talked about this a little bit when you joined us on the phone, but you are coming over with a number of guys that you already played with the New York Yankees, a bunch of the pitchers. Then they signed Wandy Peralta as well. So does that ease things a little bit to have kind of a group that's familiar with each other? Just it feels like you're not on your own on an island.
Yeah. I'm sure that's made a difference too. But yeah, I mean, it's been really good so far and super easy to assimilate with the team. So
well, I was asking you because when you got here, your wife dropped you off to work, a little nice kiss goodbye by the car. She took off, and I said, "Hey, listen, you got one car. Drop me off at work. You take the car for the rest of the day." I wanted to ask you though, like we talked on the phone. It's tough, man. You're with an organization for your entire career. You get traded to another organization. The finding of a home and a place to stay and all that, logistically, how difficult has that been for you?
Not too bad. I mean, I didn't own any places in Tampa or New York, so it's kind of just business as usual for me. And find a place every spring and find a place for the season, and so you're used to expensive rentals then. So you'll love San Diego. It's going to be great. You'll slide right in. Yeah. New York's not cheap.
No, not at all. San Diego isn't either, but you feel like you are spending money that's worthwhile because you get to live in just the most beautiful city in the country.
Yeah. I mean, it's just from being there for Joe's like mini camp.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's awesome.
What's this catcher's room like, Kyle? I mean, we know Luis Camposano for a few years now, kind of still a young guy. Coming out very promising. Brett Sullivan just walked in, a guy kind of a veteran who's trying to stick on the team, maybe one of the final roster spots. I got Kevin Plawecki is here as well. Tell me about kind of the group of catchers that we've got here.
Yeah, it's been a great group of guys. I mean, we're having a lot of fun every day, and just overall, it's been it's a really fun group of guys, but.
Sullivan. We're hearing stories.
Yeah, we hear stories about.
We didn't know about this.
So you called him Sully when he walked in. Do you know his real nickname?
No.
Booty. And I don't know. I'm not pranking you. I swear to God, I'm not going to send you in there and say, "Hey, Booty," and you get socked in the eye. That's really Jesse Agler, our broadcaster, said that's his actual nickname is Booty. And did we ever figure out?
I'm not sure if we know why.
Paul, you got it.
Yeah.
So when he was young, he had a baby brother, and he tried to call him his buddy. But he kept saying,
"Booty."
It's his booty.
Yep, that's right. So they call him Booty. But he seems
nice.
like a pretty dynamic guy, as does Campy and the rest of you guys. So seems like a good group.
Yeah, it's a great group of guys. It's not always like this. So
that's cool.
We don't take it for granted.
That's really cool. So when you say it's not always like this, we talked a little bit to a couple of guys yesterday about the competition aspect of this game. And we talked to actually the skipper about it as well. And he said, when a team is going at its best, the guys that they're in competition with are still helping each other. And it kind of blew my mind a little bit. And he said, that's when you know that you've got a good squad. You find that to be true as well?
Yeah. Everybody's got to be pulling on the same side of the rope, even if you're competing. And I mean, my view is, if you're playing well, they're gonna find playing time for you. no matter what. But it doesn't do the team any good to be kind of standoffish or not helping out your guys. So.
Talking to Padres catcher Kyle Higashioka, and we're trying to get to know some of the pitchers here in camp. I assume you've had a chance to work with most of them, if not in games, certainly out there on the bullpen mounds. What's your kind of impression of some of the arms? Any observations that you've made for the Padres pitchers so far?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think we got a good staff. I'm pretty impressed with all the arms here, and I'd say there's been a few guys that I didn't know coming into this camp that have really impressed, and the guys I've caught in the games have thrown really well. So I'm pretty impressed with the guys.
Yeah, there's some power arms. There's some finesse guys as well. Obviously, some of the young guys are the ones that our fan base is really excited about, and really some of the guys that you came over with. Drew Thorpe, I caught video of his changeup, and it's pretty nasty. When you look at Drew Thorpe, they were talking about this on the broadcast. He looks like he should throw harder than he does, doesn't he?
I mean, he is really athletic.
He's super athletic. Yeah,
he's built really, really well. So, I mean, I don't know.
But his changeup's so good. He doesn't have to power up.
The changeup is so good, and it looks exactly like the fastball coming out. And I mean, that's personally my favorite type of changeup, is the one that you can't distinguish from the heater. No matter how it moves, if it looks exactly like the fastball and it's got 10 miles an hour or so difference, I mean, that's devastating.
What's the worst pitch to catch?
Have you caught Waldron's knuckleball?
The knuckleball. All right,
Have you caught Waldron yet?
It looks nasty. He wants to throw it. The catcher's like, "Oh, shake that. No, we don't want to throw that right now." It looks so.
You don't see a lot of them in baseball anymore. Had you ever caught a knuckleball before Matt Waldron?
No, not before Waldo.
It's pretty dirty. What about splitties? Splitties can be pretty tough on you guys as well.
Yeah. It just depends on how it comes out. Like the fork balls sometimes can knuckle a little bit. Yeah. But a traditional split is just like a hard changeup.
Yeah.
Yu Darvish has such a large repertoire. Catchers have to kind of learn detailed signs. I guess you've got the pitch comm now, but in terms of how many different pitches he throws, different breaks on different pitches, how is that learning with Yu Darvish?
It's been good so far. I mean, I think one of the good things he does, he kind of, takes some of the reins in calling his own game as well. So, for a guy who has like 9 pitches, that eases a lot of the burden, because sometimes you don't know like which specific break that he wants to go with. And so it's nice when he can convey that to us through the pitch comm, that's been good.
Talking to Kyle Higashioka here on Ben and Woods this morning. For a catcher, it's just such a remarkable position in that you got a game plan, you got to talk to your pitchers, you got to constantly be communicating, and you're also counted on these days to produce at the plate. I mean, the catcher that can also hit is just such a valuable piece. Do you ever find it hard to get your work in because you're doing so much on the defensive side of the ball? Like, is it hard to balance those two?
You learn to balance it.
Do you?
Yeah. Because I mean, if you don't
hit,
if you really don't hit, then you're not playing.
Fair enough.
Anymore.
Yeah.
That's why catchers are always here so early.
That's exactly
more to do.
They got more work than everybody.
Yeah, you just got to show up a little earlier.
There you go.
Last one for me. I know you got to get your day started. We saw Michael King yesterday. Obviously, you got to work with him with the Yankees. Very excited. I didn't know much about him until the Padres had traded for him, but what do you think is kind of the ceiling there as he develops now into a full-time starting pitcher here with the Padres?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put like a ceiling on him or create some unrealistic expectations, but I mean, just from my vantage point, I think the sky's the limit for him. I mean, it's just going to be how he handles the higher workload of being a starter and going through the season and staying healthy, and so that's the name of the game, is consistency and availability. So I think for him the sky's the limit, and I think the world of him. So I think he can be whatever he wants to be and all that stuff. So it's it's about him and me and Campy getting him through a successful season.
Love it, man. Thanks so much for your time this morning, Kyle Higashioka. Everybody,
can we get you to sign our bat?
Oh yeah,
for our charity
for
bat,
our charity
for
bat.
all of our guests that come by. But this guy's an amateur guitar player as well. I think he mentioned that.
Did you bring your axe out here?
He wants to get do some licks at some point.
Damn it!
So at some point he wants to jam together. And see what you got. What's your favorite thing to play on the guitar as you sign the bat? Do you have like one like top song?
Well, there's
your
video of him
best
playing
choice?
The Trooper by Iron Maiden, which is pretty damn difficult to play.
Yeah, there's the Trooper. Actually, somebody in the media, I forget who I was talking to, but he reminded me that Hell's Bells is actually one of my go-to songs. So
Perfect.
it's kind of a perfect
Dude,
situation
you're
with
in the right,
Hoffy.
You're in the right spot then. You need to. Have you played it for Hoffy yet?
No.
All right, Hoffy loves guitar players.
I have
we
to
watch some guitar.
I got to practice first. I don't want to disrespect him.
I get.
Hoffy's dream was to be a rock star
Do you know
before
that?
being a baseball player.
It was his dream. He wanted to be a rock star before a baseball player. I said, "You can't have it all, buddy. You're in the Hall of Fame, so
have it all.
You're fine." Thanks so much.
Kyle, nice to meet you in person. Thank you very much.
Can we call you
guys.
Higgy?
Oh, yeah.
Higgy? All right, good.
I'm Higgins, so I can also be Higgy
Okay,
as well.
good.
But all right, Kyle Higashioka, Padres catcher.
Thanks so much.
We'll take a brief timeout. We'll be right back. More Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Welcome back, Ben and Woods, live from Padres Spring Training in Peoria. We got Stephen Wilson going to be joining us here in a couple of minutes. But first of all, a little rule of thumb that I've kind of learned over the years in spring training. We'll get to that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Woods is fanning out over Ha-Seong Kim, who just walked by. I mean, you fan out over a lot of people, but that was a little extra fanning there from Stephen Woods.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen him before, but he
is handsome.
He's the aura around him right now is really something.
Can you
special.
imagine in 2 weeks they're going to get off a plane in Korea, and it's going to be like the Beatles arrived when Ha-Seong Kim,
dude,
is back in Seoul.
It's going to be insane.
He's absolutely an icon in that country.
So cool,
and he'll be coming back with the Padres. It's going to be a good moment, I think, for Major League Baseball.
No question.
Stephen Wilson's supposed to be coming out here later in this segment. We saw Joe Musgrove walk in a second ago. And I just said, I've watched enough spring training over the years. This is probably, 20, 25 spring trainings I've been to over the years. And one thing that you've learned is the more veteran a player is, the less the results on the field mean during spring training.
Sure.
When guys have been in the league for a while, they don't have to prove anything. They can use games to try out more and different things without worrying about the results. If you're a young guy trying to make the roster, yes, you're going to go into the game and go, I kind of need to throw 2 shutout innings. I do not want to give up 4 runs here because I'm on my way back to AAA if I do that. But when you're Joe Musgrove or you Darvish, and you know your spot in the rotation is absolutely secure, you don't approach these games the same way. So when a guy like Joe gives up a few runs in his first 2 starts, you really cannot put any stock into that. You cannot read anything into that. You cannot make a determination like, ooh, Joe's scuffing a little bit. He's not there yet. We have no idea. He may not be. He may be. But what he is doing on the field is different than what other players and other pitchers are doing at this point in spring training.
You know, typical soft San Diego cheerleading media. Letting him off the hook again. What's his ERA, Ben?
42.5, somewhere around there.
It's not good.
That's not going to cut it.
It's not going to cut it.
I mean, it was infinity, and then it was 108.
He whittled
and now
it down
to 42. You go from infinity to 42. It's a nice improvement in one start.
I'm telling you, we should do a segment called Ben's Turd Polish, where you do like, okay, all right, if we're going to take some positives away, Joe started yesterday with an infinity ERA. It's now at 42. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good. No, I'm joking, obviously. Of course.
Did he look good yesterday? No, we were there watching, and in the first inning, he only got 2 outs. Had to do the walk of shame back to the dugout.
I would ask him about that walk of shame. Hey, man, how bad does that suck doing that? Because I know he's a competitor.
But then the weird thing is it's spring training, so even though you've been taken out, he went back in the second inning to throw another inning, and he threw a 1-2-3 second inning, maybe just to feel a little better coming out of it. Got his work in, though, 37 pitches or something, a little more than the first start, which is really the point of spring training for guys like that. And apparently he's been working on a slightly different breaking ball, more of a sweeper than a slider, and, getting the release point, figuring out the break. And when he doesn't figure out the break, he hangs one, and David Fry mashed a 2-run homer off of him in the first inning. But if it was a real game and you don't feel confident in that pitch, you probably don't throw that pitch in that situation. 100%. You throw something else that you're more confident in. But in spring training, you got to work on those things.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about Joe Musgrove. He's going to have great outings. He's going to have, average outings. He's going to have bad outings. It happens to everybody. So I'm not, again, I don't think I don't think that anyone overreacting to Joe. I don't know how serious they actually are at this point. I did see that noted Padres troll Dan Clark posted Joe's pitching lines so far. Now, he did the exact same thing to Fernando Tatis Jr. last year after the first play that Fernando booted in right field. He posted, this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. Well, Fernando won a platinum glove. So Cy Young potentially incoming, the Dan Clark jinx or reverse curse works.
Hopefully.
But yeah, man. It's spring training.
We did see Michael King, and not going to get too excited over good results as well. Quick inning, gave up a hit, but then erased it on a double play, came back for a second shutout inning, so 2 innings, 1 hit in his first Cactus League appearance with the San Diego Padres yesterday. Robbie Snelling pitched an inning against the Guardians yesterday, gave up a hit, but no runs in that game. And then later in the game, after actually we left, we didn't see it live, but I certainly saw the highlights. Ethan Salas, nice piece of hitting, got a couple of hits, a double in the gap, stretched a single into a double, went the other way nicely. The swing looks really good, especially
very beautiful swing
for a 17-year-old who should be essentially probably going into his either junior or senior year of high school would be right now.
How old is he?
He's 17.
About to
I
turn
graduated.
18.
He's going to turn 18, so probably
senior.
senior year in high school.
Yeah.
This would be a senior year of playing right now, just starting a senior season of high school.
Imagine him in high school ball.
He'd be doing quite well. Probably be unfair against some of the other competition if he was playing against high school pitchers right now. Look kind of unfair against major league quality pitchers out there a little bit.
No, it's a really beautiful. It's a really beautiful swing. He looks hitterish as well, and you know what he can do defensively, or you hear about what he can do defensively. I've seen him do drills. It's pretty cool to watch him work back there. Again, you know, there's a few young guys on this team that you're hearing from the veterans that are going about their business,
about the right way.
And carry themselves like a big leaguer. And we've got a few of those guys.
Yeah, there's some excitement on the backfields. Dylan Lesko out throwing yesterday.
Very high on him, a lot of people in this organization.
Very much so. There was definitely some excitement. You can tell when the people who actually work for the Padres are like, ooh, this guy is coming out to pitch, that there's genuine excitement. Because there's a lot of people out there. But between the minor league camp and the major league camp, there is like 150 baseball players out here.
Indeed.
And you can't get excited for every single one of them all the time. I mean, they're all out there working all day long. So when you hear like a little buzz, like, ooh, this guy's about to come out and throw, you know that they think they've got something special on their hands.
Yeah, no question, man. No question about it. So, yeah, still, you know, listen, we've said this for a lot of spring trainings too. The future is bright. We are very excited about some of these prospects, but we're also very excited about some of the guys, the veterans on this team as well. I again, you can't help but love the core here and be excited about it. But you know, there's still a lot of discussion around camp from fans, from the media about, are they going to add pieces? And we just don't know. We have not had a chance to sit down with AJ Preller. Not that he would tell us if he was going to, but I think it is important that we ask, because you wonder, is this team done making moves? And here comes Steven Wilson right now.
I still highly doubt that they're completely done. There will
feel
be
the same way.
One or two things that happen here before the end of spring training. All right, joining us right now, we got a microphone for him right there, and it's I think like his third season with the Padres, and the first time we've had a chance to talk to him, especially out here in spring training. Pride of Colorado. What state is Colorado? Woods?
The Sunshine State.
It's the Centennial State.
They call it the Sunshine State. They do call it that, though, don't
it's like the third or fourth sunniest state.
That's right.
I think,
but they do call it that, right? You've heard that.
I have not heard.
He's from Colorado. It's the Centennial State.
All right, thanks for your time this morning. Steven Wilson, everybody.
With Ben and Woods, the 97.3 fan. We've had this argument. He saw it somewhere, and he now calls it the Sunshine State. Florida is the Sunshine State.
Yeah. Allegedly. I'm digging in. How's everything, man?
Everything's great.
Good.
Yeah, good to be out here. I was out in Arizona all off season, so didn't have to move this year.
That's good.
So, yeah.
You know, another place that I saw you were at Driveline, and we are fascinated by Driveline, as most media members are. We've talked to Kyle Bodie a few times on the show. Bodie or Body?
He changes it every day.
He changes it every time we talk.
I think Bodie's.
Bodie.
I still haven't met him, so I don't know.
Oh, you didn't meet him? Okay,
Nope.
So I saw some video of you out there at Driveline, and I'm fascinated by it. I am. I think it's cool, and I think the more you can learn about your craft, the better. If there was a Driveline for radio, I'd be there. I would go and check it out, but there's not one yet. Tell us about your experience there.
Yeah, I had a friend on the Twins, Griffin Jacks, grew up playing baseball against him and with him. And I reached out to him at the end of last year. Was kind of banged up, had a couple injuries, and I knew he had gone there. And so I just asked him, hey, like, what do you got on it? And he loved it. He loves it there. And so I gave it a shot and through there all off season, fixed a couple things that I was working on, it's still a work in progress, getting a splitter down. The one they put on X yesterday was a good one.
Feels
So,
good when you catch one.
When you get one, they're nasty, but it's hard to get consistent. I know Darvish has been working on one too, so I've been picking his brain about it, and it hasn't gone great to hitters yet, but we're still working on it. I feel like once it clicks, then
it's over.
Then it'll be nice.
Over for the league.
If you're into that, I'd imagine you're excited about. We were at the ribbon cutting for the biomechanics lab.
Oh,
the Padres just opened. Have you seen it yet? I mean, is that a tool you feel like you'll be using going forward?
Yeah, I've thrown on their motion capture a couple times, and I went to the lab in January and threw on the Point Loma motion capture as well.
Talking to Stephen Wilson here on Ben and Woods, and I listen, I can't imagine what it's like to try to learn a new pitch at this level, and not only learn a new pitch, but implement a new pitch. And like you said, what is it? Is it confidence in it? Is it execution 50-50? How's it work?
Honestly, the first step for me, and this is what I keep talking to Ruben about, is like just the ball being comfortable in my hand, like the grip being comfortable. I've been all over the place with the splitter. I started here with the splitter.
Yep.
And then you need me to bring it up.
Yeah.
I started like right in here with the splitter, and then it kind of rotated over to here. And this is where I was throwing it. If you see that video on X, it's this one here. I've also been talking to Darvish. He's thrown a couple, like, this is more like Senga's Ghost Fork is like right in here.
Wow.
And then I think Darvish is maybe throwing one like this now. And this is how Scanlan threw his.
Yep.
I was talking to Scanlan about it too. So it's all just kind of comfortability and feel.
Sure.
And then you start moving the thumb around and getting different action. And it's a pitch based on slip. So you're banking on your fingers slipping off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So to try to get super consistent with that is difficult. Even the best guys, you'll see some will cut and drop, some will run. Like it's a tough pitch to master. Which is probably why not a lot of guys throw it.
Yeah, 100%.
Talking to Stephen Wilson here on Ben and Woods, and I'll have to ask. I mean, no one can ever be truly comfortable, in a big leagues. There's always competition here, but now that you've been in the big leagues for a couple of seasons, do you feel like you can work on things more in spring training? It's not simply about I got to show my best just to make this team. I don't want to go back to the minors. Now I need to get the sign right here. You actually can kind of work on some things at spring training.
Yeah, I mean, I still have 3 years of options, so I wouldn't say I'm comfortable to where I can just work on things.
Yeah.
But I feel like to a hitter or two every outing, I can. Like my last outing at the Cubs, I tried to mix in a couple splitters in counts that I probably wouldn't throw them right now if it were an actual game. And I've talked with Ruben about it. I was like, hey, do you want me to pitch to get outs, or do you want me to like kind of work on the new pitches? And so we've had a good balance, like a couple outings, like just go get after it, and then a couple other outings, like, hey, let's work on it and try to get a feel for it. So we're doing a little bit of both. But I wouldn't say I'm fully comfortable with just working on stuff all spring training.
Talking to Stephen Wilson here on Ben and Woods this morning, and Ruben is such a great guy, man. He's such a great guy, and so many you get to work with him every day. You know that very well. He's a really smart guy. He seems to be a very caring guy as well. Blake Snell credited him with a lot of his success and calming him down. The mechanics and things aside, what is he like to work with as kind of like your main report every day?
No, we always have good conversations. I feel like I can go up to him and ask him about, hey, what do you got on, or what are you seeing in my catch play? What are you seeing in the bullpen? Is it a mechanical thing? Is it my grip? Is it my arm speed, my arm action? So there's always just a good back and forth of, and Fritz is usually in on those conversations as well.
He's awesome.
And both of them are great. Just being able to have that comfortability to go up and talk to him about something that you're struggling with, and not worry about, oh, now they're going to think like, I can't do this.
Is that rare for a guy? Like you said, I mean, you still have options. Is that rare? Like, not everybody can just walk up and have that conversation. I think maybe at the big league level. When you were a younger player, were you like, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut, get my work done, not say a word? I don't want anybody to notice me unless I'm on the mound doing good things.
Yeah, definitely. When I was younger, I didn't say anything. even probably the first like 3 months in the big leagues, I was just like
silent.
It was actually Hosmer that came up to me one day. I walked right by him. I didn't say a word, because I got advice from somebody. They were like, honestly, just keep your head down and your mouth shut. And so I did that. I was like, okay, that guy played in the big leagues, told me just keep my head down and my mouth shut and work hard. And And then one day Hosmer was like, Willie, like, are you ever going to say hi
Say
to me?
hello.
Like, just say something. And so that was when I kind of like started to open up. So I'll credit Hosmer with that one. But
bro, baseball players are mean. They can be mean. They're mean. Like you have to fit in, but you also have to produce. It's a lot. It's a lot for you guys.
Right.
Now, there's a lot of new guys in the bullpen this year to say hello to. What was your reaction to seeing the additions of Matsui and Go and Peralta and some of the guys from the Yankees? I mean, it's a crowded new space in there.
Yeah, it's going to be different because a lot of the guys that I played with my first 2 years aren't around anymore. So it's been great getting to know the guys so far in spring training. I look forward to traveling with them and getting to know them even more. Matsui's my locker mate right now. So I've been trying to pick up some Japanese and communicate with him in his language. So
do you care where you pitch? Like, do you care when they use you? Do you dream of, man, I want the ninth someday. I want to be the guy, or I'd love to be the setup man, get a bunch of holds and stuff like that. Or are you just like, just give me the ball when I need to get outs?
I mean, every reliever probably wants the ninth inning.
Yeah.
And then if you got somebody like Hader on your team or Taylor Rogers before that, like, that's their inning. Yep. So in that situation, you just want leverage. Like, hey, get me in there when it's a close game, when we're up. I want the ball at that point.
I want it when we're up 6 or down 6. That's when usually that's when like I got it.
You like to be the lowest leverage reliever out there.
I'll eat these here.
Personally, I like when the game's closer. For me, it's easier to get that adrenaline, and I always pitch better when I've got a lot of adrenaline. Like, you're thinking less, you're just getting out there, and when it's those games that aren't really close and you're getting in there and you've experienced that adrenaline consistently,
it's tough.
You don't get the same. Sometimes you still get it. Other times it's like the crowd's not in it anymore, and so you're not getting that atmosphere that kind of energizes you. So those are the ones where you got to go out there and still do your job, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
How's the managerial change gone for you? Obviously, there's some consistency with guys like Ruben back, and Mike's been around, but different voice leading the room compared to Bob Melvin from last year.
Yeah, I had actually gotten somewhat close to Shilty the last 2 years because he would be around when we were at home, and obviously he coached third for us a little bit last year. So I had many conversations with him over the past couple years and gotten to know him. So for me, it wasn't like a huge change because I've seen him. He's been around. So obviously Melvin isn't there anymore, but Schilt's been there. So for me, it wasn't anything drastic.
Pretty smooth transition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, man, thanks for your time this morning. Certainly, it was awesome to meet you finally. I'm actually embarrassed it's taken this long, but wishing you the best of luck. And keep doing what you're doing, man. Everyone loves watching you pitch. So
thank you.
Keep doing your thing.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it very much.
Stephen Wilson, we got a little bat for you to sign here that we're doing for all of our guests here.
All the times I've hit.
Get it for charity or something like that.
Do you miss hitting?
I do.
Do you? Were you a good hitter when you were younger?
Yeah, I went out on top, honestly, with my hitting career. Yeah.
That's good. When was the last? What does that mean? What was the last level you
walk off home run? Last swing you ever took?
No, I don't even remember my last at bat. But in high school, I had my best hitting year, my senior year. I think I ended up winning like the league MVP, and
wow,
I was like, all right, I went out on top. I probably would have went to college and hit $150, and it wouldn't have been good.
What was your position? Did you pitch in high school too?
And first base.
First base.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's not that uncommon. I've seen a lot of big league pitchers tended to they're all really good athletes. So they were dominant in high school.
The best
whatever
athletes.
they did.
The pitchers are the best athletes.
By far. There's no question.
Stephen Wilson, we got a little overdue for a timeout, but we'll get back. Hour number 2 of Ben and Woods. Should have some more guests coming by. Expect you to talk to Joe Musgrove, Michael King, scheduled to join us on the show today. So do not go anywhere as we continue our live broadcast from Padres Spring Training in Peoria, Arizona, with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks again to Kyle Higashioka and Stephen Wilson, who joined us in the first hour here. Ben and Woods live in Peoria, Arizona, day 2 of our 3-day spring training excursion.
Stephen Wilson, an electric factory. It's just fantastic.
I liked that. That was a good interview. He was very engaging. He was very comfortable sitting here with us, considering it felt like we had talked to him a million times.
Yeah,
but we had never spoken with him before.
He was really, really good, man. Really, really good.
I loved when he said, I never said anything to anyone. And then Eric Hosmer said, Willie, are you going to say anything to me?
Well,
just say hello?
I mean, I just have heard from so many guys that not even that didn't make the big leagues, but in minor leagues, Ben, it's nerve-wracking.
I'd be a head down guy completely. Like, I'm not saying anything to anyone.
You know what would surprise you? I think I would too for a while. Until I was established.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I would be like Haas, like, hey, let's go.
But when you really feel like you're established, that's
when
the
you
tough
have
thing too.
When you're out of options.
Yeah.
That blew me away.
3 more years of options.
Now he's been really good. That was a really nice find by AJ Preller, getting Stephen Wilson here. And there's a comfortability. I know last year, like you said, he was banged up a little last year. But man, if he can add that splitty to his arsenal, whew, mamacita. I love. And we've made this distinction before between the everyman and the 1% of people that can play the game at that level. They all want the ball in the bases loaded, nobody out situation, whereas just the normal Tom, Dick, and Harry like ourselves would just be like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I love that about them. That's why they are, that's why there's been 23,000 big leaguers.
He is right, though, to not feel completely comfortable, because when you think about it, there will be 13 pitchers on the roster for opening day, essentially, part of your 26-man. You got your 5 starters, and then you think about all the names who are competing for jobs. I mean, Suarez, Matsui, Go, De Los Santos, Peralta. Brito could be in the bullpen to start the year if he's not a starter. Vasquez could be in the bullpen if he's not a starter to begin the year. Cosgrove is back. I mean, those spots fill up really quickly when you're only counting to 13. That's 8 guys in the bullpen. A lot of returners, a lot of new guys. And by the way, all of them will be needed over the course of the year. There will be more than 8 relievers that pitch for the San Diego Padres. It'll probably be more like 14 or 15 or more of them over the course of the year. But you want to be the guy who's there from opening day to the game 162, never has to get set down because they needed to bring someone else up. And the reality is a bunch of those guys will have to be sent down, especially the ones with options to make room for more arms over the course of the season.
Now, forgive my ignorance, but when you bring somebody over from Korea or from Japan like Yuki Matsui and Usak Go, can you send them down as well?
It depends on what their contract is.
Says?
Yeah, I think it's like when Ha-Seong Kim arrived, I think there was a provision where they could have sent him down the first year, but then now I don't think they can. Expired or something.
Imagine sending him down.
It's hard to imagine now, but and I don't know exactly what was written. My guess is Matsui is not Go. Maybe could be if he needed a little more work against major league hitters, or that's something they can at least broach with him if that's the best course of action going forward. But yeah, I think it is. It depends on what's in the contract of players when they're signed from Asia when they come over.
I am in the torture chamber I have my sunglasses here. The sun is beating on my face, but I have my readers on. I can't see a foot in front of me. That's why you got the transition lenses.
Yeah, these actually aren't my transitions. So I brought my sunglasses as well. I can switch back and forth.
I'm in the chamber.
So we will get later.
I can't wear my sunglasses because they got like the polarized lens. So when I do that, my laptop goes black.
It's black.
Completely black. Cannot see a
I'm like a wreck right now.
Trying to keep things open this hour. We could be joined at any time by more Padres players and guests when we eventually get to our game. Take on Woods is always brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. I actually have another edition of Padres SAT multiple choice coming up later, but I wanted to give you a multiple choice test right now. All right, of the 4 teams that we talked about yesterday where Kike Hernandez could sign, the Padres, the Twins, the Angels, or the Giants, Woods, which one did he end up choosing of the 4 multiple choice possibilities there?
The answer is E, none of the above.
None of the above where Kike Hernandez signed yesterday.
Such a weasel.
Instead,
he was trolling everybody.
He once again went back to the Los Angeles Dodgers on a $4 million 1-year contract.
A lot of guys like to take the easy way out, and I guess Kike Hernandez is one of them.
I mean, the easy way out also includes $4 million. It's a pretty easy way out.
Fair enough.
And I don't know how much they really need him or want him. They traded Manuel Margot to clear a roster space, to clear a little bit of room. Yesterday in the outfield, he was sent to the Twins. They ate a bunch of money, I think $10 million of his $12 million.
Well, which
sent him to the Minnesota Twins.
And which also means the Twins are probably going to end up moving one of their outfielders as well, which, the Padres probably
You're thinking domino effect.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're gonna need to get rid of somebody. Max Kepler potentially. So I think that's very much still in play.
You said yesterday, though, I think off the air, that just makes the Dodgers even more annoying.
Which is hard to do.
It's hard to do.
It's hard to do, but you add a guy like that, and yeah, it's going to make.
Honestly, I'm a little relieved because even if he had come to the Padres, he still would have been that annoying player, but we would have had to try to embrace him and like him as our annoying player.
It's good.
And now we don't have to.
It's good. You don't have to
You just keep cheering against him like we're used to. We always have.
Yeah,
thorn in the side can be aggravating sometimes, but
it was like all the talk in the offseason too. Like, well, Justin Turner would be good, and I'm like, I don't want to do this, man. Like, imagine, the Matt Beatty thing really soiled me on any old. I don't trust them. I think they're all spies, and I don't really want them. Now,
part of their deferred money is they go to another team
to give secrets. And listen, you want to give us Dustin May or something? All right. I could find it in my heart to love Dustin May or maybe a Bobby Miller or something. They haven't been there that long, so I could find it. But you give me Max Muncy or Chris Taylor or Austin Barnes.
It's a tough sell.
I'm done. I'm retiring.
And Kike Hernandez falls into that
group.
He
is in that category.
Sure.
Justin Turner was in that category, so I'm good.
Kike is to the Dodgers, kind of like I think Jurickson is to the Padres.
100%.
Left for a while, didn't do well. It's like, you just got to come back.
You got to come back, and the other teams don't like him because he's kind of,
he just belongs to another team. He's not really theirs. He's ours.
That's exactly right.
It kind of just made sense for him to go back to the Dodgers in the long run. But all the smoke screen about the four teams. He's narrowing down his choices. Is it going to be the Padres, the Twins, the Angels, or the Giants? And then, of course, it's back to the LA Dodgers for Kike Hernandez yesterday. So we'll get to see him a bunch of times in the NL West this season, as usual.
As usual, yeah, that's exactly right.
Unless maybe he doesn't even make the team because they are so loaded.
The Dodgers just put out their lineup. So you want to hear this lineup?
It's supposed to have Ohtani in it, is what I've heard today to make his debut.
This feels eerily familiar as to when we were going through our optimal lineups last year, but they're rolling out today. Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, Will Smith, Muncy, Teoscar Hernandez, Jason Hayward, Rojas, and Jose Ramos, who I don't know is a center fielder for them. But yeah, let's say that's fairly substantial.
Yeah, probably Lux is over Rojas at shortstop if you were really constructing an opening day lineup, but maybe not. That definitely, other than the ninth spot, seems like a potential lineup that you could see in Korea for the first couple of games of the season.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be tough to navigate, man. Certainly.
And I saw Yoshinobu Yamamoto is supposed to pitch tomorrow for the first time in a Cactus League game. The expectation is he will throw one of those two games against the Padres in Korea. Tyler Glasnow is going to throw the other one.
Yep.
And for the Padres, probably going to be Musgrove and Darvish. So if they line it up, you could get the Yamamoto-Darvish maybe matchup in Game 2 of the season in Korea, which I think would be very exciting for Major League Baseball to have that showcase for the two players at the same time. We'll see if Dave Roberts and Mike Schilt play ball with how they set up their two starters for those two games.
Brandon just brought back a very bad memory in the chat. He said, well, we tried Trace Thompson when he was a former Dodger. He left here, went back there, and then he was great. And, that was another one, man. Yeah, it's just I don't think that there's a fit. I think they're too close, and as much as they don't want to admit, they don't like each other. And, the fan bases certainly don't like each other. I think let's just keep a separation of church and state there between those two teams.
All right, it is breakfast time here at the Peoria Sports Complex. Get some people eating their breakfast. Let's take a little time out here at 7:12 on the West Coast.
Okay.
8:12 here in Arizona, and see who we've got dropping by again. Joe Musgrove, Michael King, scheduled to appear on the program today. We're going until 10 a.m. Do not go anywhere. More Ben and Woods on the way after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back.
Let's Grove.
All right, for everyone tuning in for Don't Do This right now, we'll get to it at some point, but we want to keep everything open here at the Peoria Sports Complex. I know they're mingling around inside the clubhouse now looking for other guests to bring out, so we want to just kind of – we don't have anyone at the moment.
You got to be flexible.
But we want to be flexible here. You love your radio bits, challenges, things that you
Your little
find
bits.
entertaining, little bits.
It's so condescending. You've been very condescending.
Sorry.
You love your little. You know what?
I've got a challenge for you.
Hold
that
on.
I think
let me go to the.
do.
I got something for you.
I know you like your little
I'm gonna
bits.
like your
I've got
little
a
bit.
challenge for you.
Okay, but hang on. Go ahead.
Is there any chance we can get you to stay up and watch the Aztecs game tonight, start to finish?
What time is it on?
9 p.m.
Here?
No. 9 to 11. Can we keep Woods awake long enough to watch San Diego State against San Jose State tonight?
Literally.
Like bleary-eyed. We'll keep a camera on you to see if you nod off at any point during the 2 hours.
No.
Try to keep you awake. There's no chance.
Zero chance.
Yeah. It probably is
9.
9. Yeah, 9 Mountain, 8 Pacific tonight at Viejas Arena. The Aztecs were ranked in the top 20 again yesterday, only dropped one spot despite the loss to Utah State last week. They are number 20 in the country, and quite frankly, if everything goes as you would hope, you won't need to stay up for the end of this game. This is one where the Aztecs are heavily favored to win.
What's the line on this one?
It
was 13 and a half the last game.
That was a road game. This is a home game, so it should
game.
be, I would say it's probably around 20 for the line tonight against San Jose State. Now, that being said, it was a 3-point game on the road earlier this season when they played the Spartans up in San Jose. So it's not like they don't have good players and a decent team.
Oh, yeah, I've got San Diego State minus 21.5.
21.5 tonight.
What is the point of staying up for this game? There's no point.
This is
Zero.
clearly one you cannot lose, and it's one that Brian Dutcher has not lost. So this is the fourth.
If Wood stays up late, that means he put money on it. So not only can they not lose,
well, then
they
you have to watch.
win
Yeah,
by
then
22.
you're watching when it's a 22-point game with 1 minute to go and the walk-ons are on. You'll be a little nervous.
You
at that
guys
point.
act like that I don't place bets all the time. They go right to
Just
bed
right
right after I
look
place
when
the
you get
bet.
up.
I wait.
Did I win? Did I lose?
It's
Wake
like
up to
Christmas
it.
morning when you wake up.
But it's been one of the great strengths under Brian Dutcher. This is the fourth year that they have done the net metric where you have the quad 1, 2, 3, and 4 games. This would be a quad 4 game. You're playing at home against a team ranked in the 200s. The Aztecs have never lost a quad 3 or a quad 4 game in the 4 years that they've done that. I think the only other two teams are like Baylor and Texas Tech that have not lost. They like no bad losses is a mantra for Brian Dutcher.
Yeah.
And, he will tell his players, like, the worst thing you can ever do is lose a game like this. So they will prepare like it's the NCAA championship game tonight to take on San Jose State to try to make sure you don't slip up and do something that can really hurt your seeding or, even worse, cost your team a spot in the NCAA tournament. You don't lose a spot in the NCAA tournament when you lose on the road at Utah State. It doesn't even hurt you in the metrics when you do that. You lose a game like this at home, it can be devastating. You drop like a stone from a 4 seed to like a 7 or an 8 seed. All of a sudden, you're taking on a number 1 seed in the second round. It can be brutal. So this is a dangerous game for the Aztecs. Obviously, one they should win. They should win easily. It shouldn't even really be a contest in the second half. But all of a sudden, another team is hot shooting. The Aztecs shoot cold. And these games get a little more nervous and closer than you expect sometimes.
And I would say to you that you shouldn't stay up for it either.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're out here. You do have to work tonight,
I do work tonight. I was up a little after 11 last night. I would have made it. I was getting pretty tired at the end of the night. It was a long day yesterday.
Yesterday was a long day.
Being outside just tends to be more tiring than
walking
being
a
inside.
lot. We walked a lot too. Yeah. Yeah, we're
all
not
over the place. I had to set up my TV. Paul does so much of the work here. He must be exhausted just because there's all the equipment. But I had to do my setting up of my TV equipment, tripod, and all the stuff. And even though I'm just using basically my phone as my camera setup, still there's lights and everything that I had to do. So I found myself pretty exhausted at the end of the night last night.
How are your beds in the Airbnb?
It was fine.
Surprisingly better than I thought.
Same.
When I first saw it and sat on it, it felt like a really cheap piece of crap.
Yeah.
And then I laid down and I go, not bad.
Got snuggled in pretty good. I turned the air conditioning down to 69.
It was a little chilly.
It was
I sleep on top of the covers, and I was starting to
Wait
get.
a minute. You do?
Yeah, most of the time. I
Hold
did not get under the covers. I just sleep right on top.
This is a new wrinkle.
I don't like to be hot.
All right,
at
hang on.
night.
What? You do this at home?
Most of the summer, yeah, at least.
So you also aren't a big fan of turning on your air conditioning because it costs money.
Right.
So we know
Keep
that.
the window open in the summer at night.
So you go in and you just lay down on top of your bed.
Correct.
Always.
Yeah.
You're joking.
No.
You don't get under the covers?
Rarely.
That's
Unless
6
it's
years
like
of
absolutely freezing. That's not a weird thing. A lot of people sleep on top of the covers.
I would venture to say that 1% of people sleep on top of the comforter too.
Yeah,
everything
all the way on top.
So you don't even need sheets, a top sheet, and a comforter.
Not really. No.
If you were a single bachelor,
there would
you
very
have
little,
a mattress?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I mean, you want to be soft and comfortable what you're laying on top.
Well, they have the fart cover that you put on. It's got the thick pad.
Yeah, I hate that. They just get rid of that.
And then put the elastic sheet on, and you're good. That's all you need.
Yeah,
and a pillow.
Yeah,
you're joking.
Well,
you're doing a bit.
I could do that. I do like to have an extra pillow sometimes between my legs,
I like
so
that.
my legs don't touch.
I don't like my knees
and get
rubbing
them
together.
Overheated at night.
Well, you get really hot when you sleep.
I do. I'm a warm sleeper generally.
I'd never heard this.
No.
6 years later, I find that he walks into a hotel bed and just plops down on it and falls asleep.
Yeah, well,
and you think
the
that's
bedspread, obviously, but yeah.
Well, you pull off the bedspread,
and then
leave that at the bottom,
and
then lay on,
and then just lay on whatever's left.
And you think that a lot of people do that,
or sheets?
Yes. You think a lot of people do that?
I think a lot of people.
Paulie, will you put a poll out on Bedonwood's X Twitter? Because I can promise you this: I'd venture to say 98% of people get at least under the sheet. 98%.
What does that do though? The sheet doesn't
feel
anything
good on you.
Does it? I don't really feel that way.
So it was chilly last night. I actually had to get up and turn it up again. That ain't one thing you can say about the Airbnb. The AC works really well.
I will say at around 3 a.m. I woke up thinking, do I need to get under this cover for the first time? Why is it so cold in here? It wasn't that cold in Arizona. You turned down the air. That's why it was kind of chilly.
And you did get under the covers.
I did not. I stayed on top of the covers.
Is it it's a heat thing? It's not a germs thing?
I mean, I think the secondary benefit of when you're in an Airbnb and not getting under the covers is like, I don't know what's under there, so I know I'm safe on top of the bed.
I did it. Well, I've done it. You do it in college when you pass out somewhere, but I did it. I had a road trip from Dallas to Chicago, and I drove as far as humanly possible before I was about to die of exhaustion. And I found this. I mean, it was like the hotels in Gila Bend. It was a roach motel, dude.
By the way, those are the scariest looking hotels I think I've ever seen in Gila Bend, Arizona.
If you're running from the law, just go stay in one of those.
Space Age motel is a little interesting, but the other ones are all frightening.
But I remember pulling in, and I physically could not have driven another mile. Not one more mile. I was going to die. And it was like southern Indiana. And I went, all right, I'll stay here. And I slept on top of the covers, sober, on top of the covers. And it was still like the worst experience of my life. I wanted to get under that. I like to get snuggled in like a bug in a rug.
I feel like it's been a long time. I mean, we did it the other night, but since you didn't have a planned destination, like a reservation at a hotel that you just drive and you see somewhere and you pull off on the side of the road and then stay at a hotel.
That's been a long time.
I feel weird. Like if I'm not checking out the ratings on Yelp or going to Travelocity to make a reservation or something like that.
This sweet angel, when we checked out the other morning of the Hampton Inn, when we went down, Paulie, you hadn't gotten down there yet, but we were getting our breakfast and he goes, do we need to go check out? And I said, no, it's not 1988 anymore. You don't have to go down and
you have to put your plastic keys
checking
into
out,
a little
please.
Jar.
You just leave. That's the beauty of the hotel now. You just leave. How
will they know you're gone, though?
Because you have to be out.
You have to be out, but that doesn't mean everyone always is out.
Well,
some people extend their stay, longer than they are supposed to.
They send the crew, and the crew goes and knocks and does the whole thing.
But I would want to see, if I had a crew, I'd want to know, hey, if there's people out at 7 a.m., they can get
in
started
there at 7.
at 8. They don't have to wait until noon in every single room wondering if they're gone or not.
I think the old school people like yourself still will go out and check out. I'm leaving. I'll see you later. See you until next time. and then
will you miss me?
See you next time. Thanks for overpricing this hotel during spring training hours. But and then maybe they send the crew then. But no, you can just walk out of any hotel now. Any hotel, Vegas, Paris, it doesn't matter. You just leave.
I get that they won't just keep charging you for nights. If you
I think they would look at you weird nowadays.
I think it's weird too. Like, you really waited in line for this?
Room keys.
You need to check out. We assume they're like here for the next 3 weeks.
Okay,
so
thanks for telling us. Thanks for telling us, buddy. Hope you enjoyed your stay.
Thanks for this, weirdo.
I got worn out.
I always use the TV remote. Sometimes you can check out on the TV.
That's true. You can
in the room at a lot of hotels.
So I got worn out yesterday on a thread. Adam tweeted something about. I guess an Airbnb isn't that easy to find, right? He's getting his little dig in as he normally does. But some guy wrote, make sure to thank Ben and Woods for contributing to the problem of Airbnb, because some people have an issue with people that own homes and rent them out, landlords and things like that, Airbnb. Some people are vehemently against.
Well, there are bad Airbnb guests who are not like respectful neighbors or
correct.
Loud late at night, and you're in a neighborhood that
brings property values. Whatever.
I think it's more the fact that people have an empty home for 50 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's a problem.
Really,
too,
like, just let somebody else live in that home.
Drives
Could
up
use
rent
it.
prices and such.
But then, so I wrote the guy back, and I was nice. I said, well, okay, so if we come out here on a spring training trip, and people are Airbnb is now not fashionable or not appropriate to do, but we go over to the Hampton Inn, who's normally $150 a night, but at spring training they charge $300 a night. Aren't we then contributing to that? Price gouge everybody. That's a good idea. I said, maybe next year we'll just bring tents and we'll just camp out here in Peoria. We'll sleep in the car and come in and do. What are we supposed to do at this point if we can't stay in an Airbnb? We don't want to support the price gouging capitalists. Hilton, what are we supposed to do?
Rent an RV.
I'm all ears. I'm all ears.
Get an RV
for next
sponsor.
time. You can't make everybody happy all the time, certainly. But listen, us. We will certainly try to do it. What's up, buddy?
All right, bottom of the hour.
With us later?
Let's take a time out. I think the clubhouse is opening up, so we will see if we can
10 minutes
pull out a couple of these players here when we come back. Ben and Woods live from Padres Spring Training in Peoria, Arizona, returning next year on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Now, I learned a new word just now. Jeff in the chat said that somebody at work called him a cryptid one time, and he said, I was the only person that had ever been called a cryptid. He goes, Ben is the cryptid of Odyssey. And I said, all right, what is a cryptid? Because I like words, and I like to go look up definitions. A cryptid is a creature that is found in stories and that some people believe exists or say they have seen, but has never been proven to exist. You are my cryptid, and after 6 years, you can still surprise me. We're like a married couple, and we're together, and you say, after all these years, you can still surprise me. You have very smooth arms, very soft skin.
Thank you. Like the Loch Ness Monster
like
or
Sasquatch
or a unicorn. I'd like to think I'm a unicorn.
Well, and when you think about not only some of your idiosyncrasies. How do you say it?
Idiosyncrasies. Yeah.
Idiosyncrasies.
You got it. Yeah.
Of like how you work a lot, how you don't require a lot of rest, your schedule. You don't drink like Red Bull to get through. You know what I mean? Like you're a bit of a unicorn to me.
And
after all these years.
On top of the covers.
Sleep on top of the covers, which is one of the. You got a couple people in the chat though that said no, it's fine.
A couple people are on top of the covers sleepers too.
A couple fellow cryptid serial killers.
Yeah.
Just walk right in and just plop down.
I don't really like it. It's not simply about not wanting to turn the air conditioning on because of expense. I don't like air blowing on me when I'm sleeping.
Yeah, I felt it last night, and it was very, very chilly. It was very chilly. But you're a bit of a cryptid.
And I don't want to be hot also. So it's kind of a delicate balance to try to find the right sleep temperature every single night.
For sure.
All right, let's check traffic. The clubhouse is opening up. So Paulie's going to head in, see who we can pull out here for this segment. We'll do that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. So the last few times we've come to spring training, we have come out very early, usually right around when the full squad reports, before the games have all started. And we came out a little bit later this year, and obviously the games have been underway. So it was nice to actually go over to the stadium and see some Cactus League action yesterday. I hadn't been in there in a while. You got to see Don Orsillo. He was very apologetic that he could not join us yesterday.
Yeah, I saw him. I popped into the TV area and said hello to Don, and he looks fantastic. And he's just as syrupy and beautiful as he always is. He said, guys, I am so sorry. And I said, well, we made the joke on the air that we're going to have to tape you to the chair. And he started dying laughing because I promise you it was not personal. MLB was wearing him out yesterday. So he has a lot to do. And we forget. We think we are the center of the universe. We're not. He has another job and things to do. But he did tell me to tell all of the audience and the tier ones hello, and that he will join us this year at some point.
We will have another opportunity to go over to the Peoria Sports Complex Stadium this afternoon. Padres play the Kansas City Royals. Do we remember who's pitching for the Padres today? Do we know? I think Michael Walker, the former Padre, is getting a start for the Kansas City Royals today. And then on this side, I don't remember who's pitching for the Padres today. I'm sure Mike Schilt probably went through some of the pitching probables for the game, at least a couple of the guys. But so we saw Joe and Michael King yesterday. Yu Darvish, is he going to pitch? I think Yu Darvish is pitching today.
Is it you today?
I believe he's going to get on the mound possibly for the first time in a real Cactus League game. He's been on the backfields and in the bullpen so far working on stuff, but.
Yeah, Waka Darvish today.
I believe we get to see Yu Darvish today for the first time this season in spring training.
Awesome.
So, and there's a lot of familiar faces on the Kansas City Royals. I doubt we'll see all the pitchers, but Seth Lugo is there.
Waka's there.
Waka is there. Did they sign where did Nick Martinez go?
He went to the Reds.
Yep. That's right. He's with the Cincinnati Reds, who's our team on our Tier 1 tour today.
Yes.
So we'll hit that a little bit later. Paulie says that Jurickson Profar might be coming out here. Michael King is going to be coming out. at the top of the hour in about 15, 20 minutes. So we should have a couple of guests coming by. You're nervous about Jurickson.
Are you going to ask
Jurickson is so nice.
He's the nicest guy.
Why would we have any reason to possibly be nervous about an interview with the always smiling, always friendly Jurickson Profar, Woods?
We noticed at some point a couple of years ago that me, you, and Paul were all blocked on Twitter by Jurickson Profar.
Even me.
And I went back and searched my tweets. I'd never even said anything like, "Oh, you got to come up with that one, pro." Right? Nothing. Like, "Oh, you can't get picked off there, pro." Nothing. Not one negative thing. I've always been a Jurickson Profar fan. So I was a bit even you got blocked.
Even I got blocked. I was surprised by that. Now, we don't know that he runs his social media accounts. Could be someone else. Could be someone with an axe to grind. Not sure, but he is walking this way. So
you're joking?
No, I'm not joking at all. He is on the way and will be here within the next, 10 seconds or so. But looking forward to this conversation. It's been a while in the making. He disappeared for a little bit last season with the Colorado Rockies, but he was back at the end of the year. He is returned to the San Diego Padres once again, and it just doesn't feel like the San Diego Padres anymore unless Jurickson Profar is in the house, and he joins us right now on Ben and Woods here on 97.3 The Fan. Jurickson, good morning. Smiling as usual.
Morning. Always a big smile.
Always smiling.
Yes.
It's good to have you, man. Welcome.
Thank you.
First of all, welcome back to the Padres. How was the process of getting back here with the team this year? How did that go?
It went well. But at the end with the visa thing,
yeah,
I got here a little late.
But it was
just go
good.
with American Express next time.
you were playing.
I was playing.
Yeah.
So that was the good thing. I played a lot this off season, and I played till February. So everything feels good.
Good, man.
I'm ready to go.
Good to see a lot of the friendly faces back in there. I know you were probably enjoying watching Fernando Tatis Jr. play right field last year and winning a platinum glove. Yeah. Has he rubbed that in at all yet?
No, I don't think so.
He's too nice.
He's humble. He's very humble.
That's awesome.
So, Jurickson, I wanted to ask you because you signed really late last season with the Rockies, and you signed kind of late this year. And there's a lot of free agents who are still not signed this year. Guys like Blake Snell who have not found a team yet.
Matt Chapman.
Cody Bellinger just signed. Is that hard to wait all off season and not know where you're going to play the next year?
Worst.
It is hard.
The worst.
That's what I thought.
We were speculating that it was the worst.
Yes.
And
last year I didn't even have a spring training. I went right into the season, and I didn't even play like I played this off season. I didn't do anything. Just work out and waiting, and it was terrible.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time on the show. Now, obviously, we've never been through that. We don't know what it's like, but we always say that's got to be a terrible feeling. Texting your agent, anything at all. Like, what are we going to do?
Really
Where
bad,
am I going?
Really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
And so when you got to Colorado, like you said, you didn't have a spring training, so you kind of felt like you were behind already. How did the season, play out for you? Were you happy? Were you not happy? How did that go?
I don't know if I can say that.
Everything was fine.
It's fine. Yeah. It was fine.
Well, let's just say
everything was fine.
You're glad to be back.
I'm really glad to be back.
Good.
And
you could have seen it when I came back last year.
Yep.
Yeah. I played pretty good when I came back.
Yeah, and the team played really well when you came back as well. Did you find it hard coming back? It's a business decision. Everybody's got to make the decisions that's right for their family at the time. I bet it was really hard to leave, though.
Yes, it was. I wanted to come back, but like you said, it's a business, and things didn't go.
Yeah.
They didn't go my way.
You got a fresh start now.
Yes,
so that's good.
Yes,
that's good.
And I would imagine, obviously, they need you right now.
Yeah.
With Juan Soto and Trent Grisham both gone, there's a lot of opportunity in the Padres outfield right now. So is that part of the appeal, is coming back knowing that this is a place where you can really be needed and get some playing time?
Sure. And hopefully we can we can go back to our winning ways and the way that we played the last couple of years, except 21. I think that we didn't make the playoffs.
It's funny, man, because I have watched you play for a long, long time, and you're such a happy guy, but you also have a lot of fire in you too, and you also you'll get after it on the baseball field, and I do feel like that was something that this team was missing last year when you were gone. The ability to maybe get in somebody's head, maybe say, no, you're not going to push us around a little bit, and I feel like you bring some of that to the table. Is that a part of your game that's always been there? Like the kind of chippy and chirpy. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yes. I'm an emotional guy.
Yeah.
And so I play with a lot of emotions, and also being myself, a happy guy. I blend those together. I really want to win when I step on the field. So I'm going to give everything.
Profar is with us, and a lot of people said he's a great clubhouse guy, speaks multiple languages, can relate with a lot of players. Is that something you have to try to do, or does that come naturally for you? People just gravitate. It's just natural.
He's dynamic. He's just dynamic. Yeah.
Yes, that's who I am.
Have they told you at all, talking to Jurickson Profar here on Ben and Woods this morning, have they told you at all what to expect playing time wise? And at this point in your career, I know you want to be on the field. Everybody knows that. Every player that's in that locker room wants to be on the field as much as they can. Are you comfortable playing wherever they need you, whenever they need you?
Yes.
Yeah. Team guy?
Yeah. Always a team guy, but I'm going to give everything to play every day. I'm just gonna bring it every day to be on the field.
Sure.
You play good, you're gonna play.
Yeah.
I read somewhere growing up in the Caribbean, not on the same island as Xander, but you guys are about the same age. You competed against him. You've known him for a long time.
A long time,
yeah.
Since
What's he
9 years old?
Really, 9 years old.
Yes.
And what was he like?
Every year
then?
we play against each other.
Yeah. Was he always? You always could tell he was going to be a star.
Sure. Yes.
So
he always same guy till today. Yes.
So he's making a position change. You've played multiple positions at the big league level. You played some second base. You give him tips. Does he ask you for tips? I know he's got a lot of coaches in his ear right now about what to do.
I think he's going to be fine. He's a ball player.
Yeah.
100%. He's always been.
One of my favorite experiences as a sportscaster, I've gotten to go 4 times to the Little League World Series. You got to play in the Little League World Series. What was that like for you as a kid, getting a taste of kind of the big time as a 12-year-old?
The best. And he missed it because we beat him.
Because you beat him, he didn't get to go.
Twice. So both times that I went, we beat him.
That Curacao over Aruba, you had to beat him to get to
one year he played for Bonaire too. There's another island.
Okay.
By us in the Caribbean over there.
And you beat them?
He went and played there for Bonaire, him and his brother.
Yeah.
His brother was really good too.
Yeah.
He has a twin brother.
Yep.
Exactly the same, a little bigger, more power.
Yeah.
But they were so good.
And you got a brother
still
who went there too, right? At the Little League World Series.
Two brothers.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's amazing. All right, Benny, elephant in the room.
All right, got to ask, because we are big fans. Now, I don't know how much time you spend on social media, Twitter, X, they call it now, but we were noticing that you blocked all of us on Twitter. We can't see your tweets. Did we do something?
Do you remember this?
Can we be unblocked?
I don't remember, man.
Do you have someone running that account for you?
If you're saying negativity, you block.
We didn't.
Woods, we didn't say anything about you, man.
Negativity.
No, we're very positive people.
On.
We're very positive people.
Okay.
In the spirit of making peace, we brought you your very own
shirt.
Ben and Wood shirt.
Nice.
So if you would be so kind to unblock us, we would be very grateful. And we will never be negative again, ever. I promise. Okay?
And we don't need negativity.
Never.
I like
during
the
season.
attitude.
We only need
positive
positivity so we can win. Fans need to understand.
Okay. Positive only.
Hey, Padre fan, positivity.
Yes. And you guys feed off.
We need you guys.
The fans the last couple of years, man. Petco has been incredible.
Yes.
And as much as you guys want to win, I think they want it too.
I know.
That
we feed off of it.
100%.
We want to bring a championship to San Diego. I think they really deserve it.
100%.
So we have to give everything as a team to do it.
That's awesome. It's awesome to hear, man. And I think it's a long season. 162 games is a long season. Yes. You can't live and die with each victory and loss. Last year was such a weird year for the fan base, for the players. It was weird. Fresh start this year. Good group of guys. New skipper. What was has your experience been with the new manager, Mike Schill?
Very good. Very good. I think he was there a little bit in 22.
Yep.
And then last year when I came back too, he was there, and he's a great manager. Always positivity, like I said.
Yeah.
And you know what too? He loves to win. He will do everything to win a ball game. So that's what we need.
Well, I like this. This is how you do. This is how you resolve conflict.
I mean, there's one thing. We can be positive. It's like a requirement, though. He is
everything
pinnacle
he
of positivity
to win a baseball game every day.
He will not abide any negativity, and I'm okay with that, Jurickson. We really appreciate it. It's nice to get to talk to you in person. You mind signing our bat for our listeners here? We're collecting everybody who stops on by, get an autograph and a signature. But looking forward to having Jurickson back this season. Padres just play better when he's here. I mean,
there's no question about it.
It's science. It's statistically proven.
They
play better
100%.
when Jurickson is here.
That's exactly
and
right,
Jurickson plays better when he's here.
That's
so
exactly
it just works
right.
out for both parties. Thank you very much, Jurickson. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much,
It's
man.
Ben Higgins, Stephen Woods. You go on X and you can just hit the unblock, and we will be back in with you good here in the future. So, Jurickson Profar, Padres outfielder, here with us on Ben and Woods live from Padres spring training in Peoria.
Where's your heart? You feel your heart?
I'm good. I was calm. He's nice.
He's so nice, dude.
I mean,
he's so nice.
I like that he preaches positivity and he actually lives with it. He does not want to see negative. He does not want to live negative. He wants to live on the positive spectrum, and I think that's probably the best way to go. If you're a professional athlete,
you have to.
You can't really dwell on the negativity because there's always going to be criticism. Even if the best player, Ohtani's going to get criticism today. He's going to strike out one of his at-bats with the Dodgers, and all of a sudden,
what do we spend this money for?
$70 million. What's it? $700 million? What's all that for? I mean, they get it constantly, and why wouldn't you try to get away from it if you couldn't? You don't want to see that sort of thing.
My heart was racing.
That was so cool. And
holy.
But it's funny. It is funny because you see him in that smile, but then you see him on the field. I mean, remember him and Kershaw? And Kershaw turned and jawed him. He goes, "Just shut the F up." And I'm like, "You're the best. You're the absolute best." And like I said, frankly, I think this team's been missing some of that. I really do. And I think you get him back in the mix, and he's the guy the other team's like, man, I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear from him.
Yeah, it's not that other players don't have that in them, but someone sometimes has to be.
You got to be the guy,
the one who kind of lets everybody else unleash it as well.
Yeah.
I think Jurickson has been that guy for the Padres every once in a while. He may not be the face of the franchise.
Sure.
He's certainly not, but he allows the other guys maybe to step forward and be a little more. He's
a leader, though.
He is definitely a leader.
100%.
But, there's a difference between being like a face and a leader. He's clearly a leader, a little more behind the scenes, but definitely a leader in the San Diego Padres clubhouse.
It's a great interview. I love, I love the desire and passion to win for San Diego, too.
And I believe Michael King's supposed to be coming by here.
Yeah, he is doing a interview with Jesse Agler right now.
He's doing a walk and
talk.
Jesse's warming him up for us, and then he'll
how
get
do
him
we
over here.
follow Jesse Agler's questions?
It's going to be tough. Well, no one's heard them yet. We'll get by the time Jesse posts it, we will get on first. So no worries there. We can just steal everything. All those questions and everything. It'll be absolutely great. So we'll come back 2 more hours of Ben and Woods live from Padres spring training in Peoria. Do not go anywhere. More still to come. Lots more to come on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back.
All right, we are halfway home on a Tuesday. What a morning so far. We had a peace brokering with Jurickson Profar. Yeah. We talked to Steven Wilson, Kyle Higashioka, and now joined by Padres starting pitcher Michael King. Welcome to the Ben & Woods program. Good to have you.
Appreciate you having me.
It's our pleasure, man. Now we're a little bit nervous because we know you just did a walk and talk with Jesse Agler.
Yep.
He is a professional.
He's so good.
We are not.
So smooth. Yeah.
But the good thing is we don't know what he asked you, and the audience doesn't know what he asked you because he hasn't posted it yet.
That's a good point.
So you let us know after who did better, us or Jesse. Who made you feel more comfortable?
Okay. All right. I'll let you know.
All right, good.
Speaking of feeling comfortable, first time Cactus League with the Padres yesterday. How did you feel in your outing yesterday against the Guardians?
Yeah, felt good. I worked well with Campy. I feel like we were just able to get ahead of the count, so it makes it a much easier game when you're 0-1 on everybody. And I felt like we were on the same page for the most part, executed both sides of the plate, so I felt really good.
So it's going to be interesting for you. We were talking off the air about the ball will fly here a little bit, jumps off the bat, you're going to love San Diego. You're going to love San Diego, man.
The marine layer especially.
You keep the ball down in San Diego, you're going to have great success because, go ask Manny and Toddy and Xander how hard they have to hit it to get it out in April, May, and sometimes June in San Diego. So just know that going in, you're going to have a great first 3 months.
Looking forward to it, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely that dry, thin air the ball carries here a little bit. So I'm trying to keep the ball on the ground as much as I can here.
For sure. And you got a really good defense behind you well. So it's fun. And I know, listen, there's a lot of adjustments that have to be made when you join a new organization. You got to meet all the new players. You got to come to a new spring training facility. How's it gone for you so far?
Honestly, I think it's been a much easier transition because of the pitching camp that we did in January. I know Musgrove put it on, so I'm super appreciative of him. Not only just to meet a couple of the pitchers, but the staff too. And I didn't have to come in and learn 200 people's names. Yeah. I had a good week to really get to know all these guys. And it's been a much easier transition because I didn't come into a spring training complex not knowing where I am and who I'm with. Sure. I knew exactly who I was with and just had to kind of learn the ropes here.
Give me your impressions of Joe. He's an icon in San Diego.
No, Joe.
Joe.
From San Diego through the first no-hitter. I mean, I was a Padres fan growing up. It's like, am I ever going to see a no-hitter in my lifetime? I've cheered for this team for 48 years. And I was like, was it ever going to happen? And Joe finally did it. And he's such a good dude, good in the community. I think it'd be hard to pitch in your hometown the way he does. What have your been impressions of Joe so far?
Yeah, he's incredible. Extremely hard worker. He almost makes me feel like I'm not doing enough. And I feel like I do a lot. So I don't know if I've beaten him to the field yet this spring. He's here all the time. And then just talking to him baseball wise, he's such a student of the game. And it's great for me because I had my 9 starts last year, but I'm still learning as a starting pitcher. And now I got a guy like Joe that can actually teach me about his routine, his bullpen routine, how he's attacking hitters, what he sees in different swings, why to do something in his second or third time through. And it's something that's like absolutely invaluable to me.
When we're talking to Michael King here on Ben & Woods this morning, you're talking about trying to glean information from the guys that you're pitching with. But when you go on the mound, how hard is it are you a thinker out there? Are you constantly going, all right, this guy's on deck, and I know that this is what I threw him last, or are you just sign, go, execute?
I'm definitely a thinker.
Are you?
I also think that helps me not be nervous when I'm out there.
Sure.
And I always said, if you're prepared, you're not going to be nervous.
Good point.
So if I knew the scouting report through and through and a guy gets up there, I'm just thinking about the scouting report and knowing that I've seen video on how to get this guy out, how to get this guy swing and miss, how to get this guy to ground out so many times. And so now it's just confidence when I'm on the mound and all I got to do is execute. So I definitely would like to have more information than possible. I know some guys are like, I don't want to think out there. That gets me away from being competitive. But I was taught at a young age that like, if you didn't study for the test, you're going to fail the test.
Fair enough. I know that very well. Very, very well. You can't wing it. You can't just go wing everything in your entire life.
So that definitely was a huge part for me. And I feel like that adds to my competitive nature on the mound.
You had some interesting comments this week about the role of a starter and wanting to throw a lot of innings. Now, we've seen in modern baseball, they are very careful about adding to the inning count of a pitcher from the previous year. But you've said you kind of target like 180 innings. You want to do that. What's been the kind of conversations like with Ruben Niebla and the coaching staff about what you're going to be allowed to do this year?
Well, Ruben said there's going to be no restrictions, but they're just going to monitor it. And now I'm okay with that. had Seth Lugo last year go from 60 to 150 or whatever it is. And so I was appreciative. He said that we're going to monitor if your arm slot starts dropping, if your velocity starts dropping. I got to be communicative about how my body's feeling. And as long as all those things are checking out, then he said, you're full go. I know Lugo's best month last year was in September. And so it's like a guy that has never pitched that much had his best month with all these innings on his arm. So I think it's great that I'm in the situation that I'm in because they just did it last year. But I feel like there should be no restrictions. I'm going to make sure that I take care of my body and make sure that I'm healthy enough to do it.
What is the routine between starts? I'm always fascinated with position players, and we hear stories about Manny. He hurt his ankle. He was like on the table for 4 hours. They just trying to get out on the field, man. But if you're healthy, you throw 6 innings. What's the next day after that look like for you?
A lot of guys are different. I'm a day 2 bullpen guy.
Okay.
I like to throw sometimes 50 pitches in a bullpen if I'm working on something. And I don't want to do that on day 3, like most, I'd say, starters do, just because then I'm sore on day 5 when I got to actually go.
Yeah.
So day 1 for me is like a bike flush, get a little bit of cardio in there, very light throwing and a lower body lift. Day 2 is my bullpen day with an upper body lift and a lot of shoulder care. Day 3 is a mobility day for me. And then day 5 is really just sprints.
Yeah.
And so you're doing something every day to make sure that you're still progressing. But I think it's a lot of trial and error throughout the beginning part of your career. And I've just always had success with day 2 bullpen and building my routine around that.
Got Michael King here with us, Padres pitcher on Bennett Woods. Now, you come over from the Yankees organization. You were from New York. Were you a Yankees fan growing up?
So this is a story. So I was born in upstate New York, but moved when I was 6 months old. So I don't remember New York at all. And then found myself in Rhode Island, and that was the only place that I actually remember from 4 years old on. And my dad's from Boston. My mom's from New York. And so my dad raised me to be a Boston everything fan. And in 2003, when the Red Sox played the Yankees in the ALCS, my dad had tickets to one of those games, got rained out, rescheduled to a day that he had to work. So he gave the tickets to my mom and told me to go. And my mom's a diehard Yankee fan. Her favorite player is Mariano Rivera. The Yankees win. I now come home from that game like the Yankees are the best team in the world.
Oh, my God.
And
Your dad's just...
I remember my dad laying on the couch, and he this is even worse. He gave me $20 to buy a souvenir and it was at Fenway. And I come home, and he's laying on the couch, and I can still picture it. And I got a Yankee hat on as I turn around the corner. And he starts stabbing himself in the chest.
He's like, no.
He's like,
I failed.
Kidding me?
You've broken my heart.
He's like equally mad at my mom as he is at me. And because I'm in that rebellious little kid state,
Sure.
I loved it and wanted to be even more of a Yankee fan. So I'm a Yankee fan, but then I'm a
Red
Celtics
Sox fan.
I know. I'm Celtics, Boston, like Bruins, Patriots. So yeah, oh yeah. But it was a dream come true playing in the pinstripes because from 7 years old on, I was a Yankee fan.
Yeah, you're too young for when they broke our heart in 1998 in the World Series. Yeah, you're probably about 2 back then. So,
but your dad, when you got drafted by the Yankees,
I was drafted by the Marlins.
Yeah.
But when you went to the Yankees, and he was a huge Yankee fan then at that point.
And I'm not kidding. He was the first one of my family that's a Red Sox fan, even friends because I'm from Rhode Island, everybody's a Red Sox fan. He was the first one to totally jump ship. And it was my mom's line, but he kind of coined it as his blood runs thicker than dirty water. So
that's really good. Yeah, my dad went to Notre Dame. I'm a huge Notre Dame fan.
I went to Boston College.
Did you? That's
tough.
We're already. But like if my kid got picked up to go play college baseball at USC, fight on. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just how it goes.
That's how it is.
That's how it is, man. Man, we're super excited to have you here. So the not that you're ever comfortable, right? You're never comfortable. You don't seem like a guy that's like, no, I'm just going to cruise and see how it goes. It feels like, you got a rotation spot locked up with the San Diego Padres. The competition's pretty fierce with the guys behind you. Tell us about some of the guys that are working for those, maybe the 4th and 5th spots, some of the guys you came over with too. There's some pretty good arms there.
Great arms. Yeah. I mean, Brito and Vasquez are 2 young guys that I think have a ton of upside. I don't know if you've seen, you probably saw Vasquez a couple days ago pitch. His stuff is absolutely electric. Once he figures out like sequences and learning swings and reading hitters, he's going to be an elite starter. Brito is almost already there. He has such a good feel for his command, where his body's moving. And it's another thing is like you said, you got to think on the mound a little bit. You got to know who's on deck. You got to know the situation. And like this kid out there is already doing it, and they're both mid-20s. It's really impressive.
That's awesome.
You mentioned pitching with Campy yesterday. You came over with a catcher. We had Kyle Higashioka on earlier. But he can't just be the personal catcher for all the Yankees. You got to be able to.
But he kind of has. He caught both Brito and Vasquez. I was like,
yeah.
Higgy, what are we doing here, dude? You got to meet it. You got to learn everybody else. But I have not thrown to Higgy yet, which is actually a good thing because I've thrown to Higgy for the last 6 years.
Sure.
So he knows me, and I'm fine going to Campy for a little bit and trying to learn Campy.
How hard is that to have a new catcher back there and getting on the same page and knowing the mannerisms, and he needs to know you as well. He's got to put in the work as well.
And I think it can be hard unless you have a catcher that's willing to learn. And it was an awesome conversation with Campy the other day. I said, in between innings, I'm going to go over basically every time I shook you off, the next 3 hitters that we're about to face and how I want to attack these guys. And I said, but trust me, I get it. You got another job. You got to hit. I'm not going to like totally take away all your time. And he was like, you kidding me? I'll be all right hitting. Like, I want to have these conversations.
He's
all
like,
the
I
time.
can hit, bro. Don't worry about my hitting. You've seen me hit. I can hit.
But having a guy that's so willing to do that and sacrifice his prep work to hit to just learn me in spring training was awesome to hear. So I really can't wait to continue those conversations and develop a great relationship with him.
This dude, when you're done, you're just gonna broadcast. You go straight from the thing right to just. There's certain guys that come in, they grab the mic, you're like, oh, this guy's gonna be after our jobs here in a few years, man.
So my dad was an anchor, I got.
Oh yeah, that's right. We heard that. So
That's
Ben,
right,
So Ben, we do the morning radio show, and then he does sports on TV at night. He's actually quite. He works like 18-hour days.
Okay, that's why he doesn't golf anymore.
That's right. Yeah. No human alive works mornings and nights, but he does. Your dad was an anchorman on local news.
I was born in upstate New York because he was bouncing around up there, and then got the head job in Minneapolis, the 6 and 11 o'clock news in Minneapolis, and then got it in Providence. So he's got the whole background. And my mom worked as a director of communications for a high school for me, and she was in PR with Malt. So they love the media.
They love the media. Great.
I know the 6 and 11 lifestyle. I've been doing a 6 and 11 for a long time. Did it last night from here. I get from here out in Arizona.
There you go. Yeah,
it's good to have another one in the family. But Michael, it's a pleasure to meet you. Really appreciate it. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
Certainly rooting for you. We'll get on the golf course sometime and have a match. Do you mind signing our bat? We're doing it for our listeners here.
Of course.
Well, you guys are both 5 handicaps.
Could be a good match.
Big money match.
Big money match. Well, it's Ben. He doesn't do a lot of big money.
Well, anything. I mean, but Michael hasn't gotten his first big contract yet. I'm sure that's coming. Looking forward to it. But when he does, I will not be able to compete in the big money matches.
Michael, he buys his jeans at Costco. Yeah. Just that's a real thing, and his gas,
shoes,
and everything else. Everything.
Yeah, I'm dad, full Costco lifestyle at this point. Hey. Got 2 boys, 20 and 18 now, so
nothing to be ashamed of.
not a deal. Thank you so much for your time,
man. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Wish you the best.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Michael King, Padres pitcher, with us here on Ben and Woods. We're going to take a timeout. Check traffic. We'll be right back with more live from Padres spring training. In Peoria, don't go anywhere. It's Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Our thanks again to Michael King, a very dynamic and engaging fellow, sure to become a fan favorite.
Probably a Mrs. Woods favorite, if we're being honest.
San Diego Padres. He had piercing blue eyes, were they?
Yeah, she's not a big blue eye fan.
Really?
Yeah, she doesn't like the blue eyes.
Who doesn't like blue eyes?
My wife. That's it.
I love blue eyes. My wife has blue eyes.
Yeah, she's not. She thinks men with blue eyes are psychotic.
Really?
Yeah, just men.
What color are Jake Cronenworth's eyes?
I think brown.
Really?
Yeah, like mine.
Mine are brown.
Both my kids. Yeah.
Brown is the most common eye color. Now yours are they have a little bit of a green to them, though. They're not completely brown. Mine are more of a darker brown.
Beating on my face.
That's
right
probably true as well. We're getting a little scorched here this morning. Not quite as pleasant as yesterday. Not bad.
No, not bad.
It's warm. It's comfortable.
Let's be honest. We needed the color.
We forgot to ask Michael King to evaluate our performance vis-a-vis Jesse Agler's interview that he conducted a few moments before. I don't know that I really wanted the answer to that question, though. So
I'm afraid to know the answer.
Kind of fine not knowing. Now, Jesse sourced some of his questions on social media yesterday.
Yeah, we don't do that.
He said, hey, send me some questions.
We do our own work.
Exactly. We don't source questions on Twitter.
I saw Stephen A. Smith does that. So Stephen A. Smith, who's multi-millionaire.
The weirdest questions.
Well,
now.
He does, but
what was this morning? What's your favorite seasoning and sauce?
So, but he'll do so he does his shows. What does he do?
Especially the topic wheel.
He does a TV show, right? And then he'll go hey, I'm doing a podcast tonight. Send me anything you want me to talk about. I'm like, isn't that your job to prepare and plan your own podcast?
It's called an AMA, and Ask Me Anything. He's essentially doing a Reddit
That's
bit.
different than Ask Me Anything. I mean, it's like, hey, what do you guys want to talk about today? Floor is yours. I mean, it's kind of our job to keep the train moving, is it not?
Yeah, well, we don't always do a great job.
We don't.
But I feel like
I'll be honest with you.
It's our responsibility to try to keep this ship plowing forward.
I take great pride in the fact that listen, we'll certainly, if you have a good idea, we'll use it. But I can't imagine just tweeting out, all right, we're on tomorrow 6 to 10. Whatever you guys want to talk about, let us know. I do take great pride in that, Benjamin.
You can listen to Sam Levitt's podcast, Inside San Diego Baseball. Sam covering everything going on with the Padres in spring training. He's already been here over 2 weeks. Probably getting a little stir crazy now at this point. You can find Sam Levitt's podcast at 97.3 The Fan, SD.com, the Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcast. We saw Sammy a little bit earlier this morning. I assume he is now at work in the clubhouse. Paulie's in the clubhouse looking for more guests. I know Joe Musgrove is supposed to stop by. We got about an hour and a half left here but people are already getting to work here as well.
Yeah,
this morning got pitchers on the mound.
Look at Fritzy out there, hands-on training, keeping the guy's hip back. I think is that Johnny Brito right there that he's working with?
I think it is. Yeah,
looks like he's working with Brito. Yeah, it's really cool to see. It's really cool to see the guys out there getting their work in. There's a lot that goes into this out here, man. There is a lot that goes into this. A lot of work.
I mean, essentially, you're working individually with every single person out here is going to need individualized attention, and you can't really forget about anyone. I mean, even non-roster invitees who have very little chance to make the team. If you're not giving everyone the full chance and full attention, you're going to miss out on someone, and they're going to go to another organization. And you're like, we had that guy. Why isn't he doing this for us? Well, we didn't work with him enough at spring training. We didn't give him enough of a fair opportunity. You got to evaluate every player out here, give them the best opportunity to succeed, and that's what you do.
Sammy, come here. Sammy spring training.
Right, Sammy is he just emerged from the clubhouse.
The great Sam Levitt Sr. Joins us here this morning.
Let's turn on the microphone. I think you're on now.
Am I?
Yes, you are.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Sam Levitt Sr. I wanted to commend you on the way you handled the young man yesterday that had the imitation of you. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was really good. He's probably like 11 years old.
It was really good considering the age. He had the cadence down, the mannerisms down, the voice. I don't know.
He's a kid.
You think the voice was
pretty good?
Pretty good.
It was pretty good. Enough. It's enough of an homage to make you go.
He was very good, I appreciate it. No, he was great. If we see him today, if he's out here today,
oh my God, please,
we have to find a way to get us both on video. The most jarring thing about that yesterday was, I think, and I do want to clear up any misconceptions. I think there were people that thought when you wrote Sam Levitt Jr. and they heard the impression that
it actually was your son.
It's my child.
No.
Yeah.
I do not have any children. That is not my child.
No children that you know.
So any misconceptions out there.
You can offer a youth something that the two of us cannot, and that is TikTok viral ability.
Correct.
That you could possibly put him on TikTok and he become the same kind of sensation.
That's a really good idea.
That you are.
I could. If we see him today, we're gonna have to work on something. Put him on TikTok. Put him on Instagram.
I gotta find out.
How did we not get him to say? And with
with that God. To be honest with you, they said he did a Sammy Levitt impersonation. I said, well, bring him over here. I didn't have any
expectations were pretty low.
They were. I didn't have any questions prepared. And you saw me at one point just staring at him.
Right.
Just like, I cannot believe what I'm seeing.
I saw it. You were frozen. You're like, what do I ask next?
But it was more of like, I was just staring at this is unbelievable. Like, I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
Well, it's just the whole concept of there would be somebody out here with a prepared Sam Levitt impression.
That's the best part. He just winged it.
It's crazy in and of itself.
Really, really good, man.
Yeah,
really,
it was
really
funny.
Good.
So what's going on in the clubhouse?
Did you get his name? What his actual name is?
Yesterday.
Sam Levitt Jr.
Sam Levitt Jr.
What's going on in the clubhouse? You've been in there for a little while. Anyone
normal
talk
stuff.
to you today?
No, you know what? I haven't really talked to anybody today. My new thing this spring, honestly, and I have talked to guys inside the clubhouse, but I've really tried to talk to them outside. So prep them, say, hey, do you mind if I pull you for an interview when you come off the field today? I just find it's more casual. I can be on camera sometimes, makes for better video. So I'm doing a little bit of both, but I'm trying to set things up and then put it on guys' radars and grab them when they come off the field.
I do think players, when they're in the clubhouse, are more self-conscious of what is heard by their teammates.
I think that is and
they're a little more careful because you don't want to say the wrong thing in front of your peer group. Not that you're saying the wrong thing in an interview as well, but we're all kind of the same creatures. You don't want to be embarrassed. You want to make sure that
I like to be embarrassed.
No one held something against you. So
it's a little Max, by the way.
Max? Okay,
Max.
Great.
He just crushed that.
Thank you, Max.
I'm trying to find out if they're still here because if they are, I need that collab to happen.
Well, we can always get them back.
Yeah,
bring them to the ballpark. No, it's a good point, Ben. That's I think amongst the media, something that sometimes I've certainly heard people talk about is that sometimes you can get a little bit better answers outside the clubhouse because a couple of things, especially here at spring training. Number one, you guys know this, it's so early. I mean, today was a later clubhouse. We've had open clubhouses this spring and this same thing last spring at 7:30. And quite frankly, sometimes I feel bad going up to guys at 7:30 when they've just arrived and saying, hey, let's do a 10-minute interview. I wouldn't want to do an interview at that time. So there's that. And also, like, when you're in the clubhouse and you're around your teammates, maybe you're a little bit more shy, especially if you're a younger guy.
Well, you get the cliche factor. What happened there? It's like, no, it's one game at a time,
I do think it gets a little looser when you get outside there. So I've tried to make it a mix of both.
And maybe it's my imagination, but it feels like Mike Schilt is trying to get a little more done maybe this spring, partially because they're leaving early, partially because I just think that's his meticulous kind of nature that they have a little more scheduled. They've got a little bit more in their days here to make sure everyone gets the amount of work in that is needed before they get on a plane for Korea now in 2 weeks from tomorrow?
Right.
That they're going to be leaving.
Well, it's something that I talked to you guys about in the last couple of weeks that, we heard about Mike Schilt when he got the job, how detail-oriented he is. And it's something that I think has been really clear this spring training. It's something that guys have talked about, the efficiency in which they do stuff. And also, and I think I told you guys this a couple of weeks ago, I just find that Mike Schilt, and maybe you'll talk about it later with him at PF Chang's if that's going on. I just find he's out there a lot. Yeah. Like he's on the field, every backfield. If there's a backfield of minor leaguers doing drills a week and a half ago, he was out there. The communication, you just see him around a lot. And that's not to say that Bob Melvin wasn't around. I mean, he was. But I just noticed it with Mike Schilt, like whether it's superstars or minor leaguers, he's out there and he's constantly communicating. So, look, it's been impressive so far, the level of communication, the details. You talked to him yesterday. He just kind of has that people feel. Sure. You really get that sense.
And I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. every team is going to hit and miss on certain guys. Not everyone's going to pan out. But the one real crime is to have a talented player in your camp, like in the minor leagues, and you didn't see it. You didn't develop it. You let him go, and he went and blossomed somewhere else. That to me is the biggest crime you can commit as a baseball organization.
100%.
Yeah. Look, obviously this team is relying on a lot of young guys to come up and produce, and that could very well be this year and be early this year. So the young guys are really important. I thought the story that Mike Schilt told yesterday about Albert Pujols was awesome.
I loved it. Can't wait for more of those.
Speaking of young guys, I saw, and we just saw him a handful of minutes ago. I saw Homer Bush Jr., Dylan Head, Sammy Zavala out there. So those guys are here now, where they're going to have that the spring prospects game after the team leaves for Korea. So I'm looking forward to that.
Homer
and
Bush
seeing them.
Big.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah. Tall.
I remember his dad. Played. I don't remember. I mean, I think it feels like he's a foot taller than his dad. I mean, really, like he is a big dude, imposing.
So it's a good reminder when you see those guys, and there's been a lot of talk about how deep the Padres system is.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of focus right now on Merrill and Marcy and Paulie, rightfully so. But I do think getting some other guys here the last week or so, Lesko, who threw a bullpen yesterday, Bush, Head, Zavala, it just reminds you that there are some guys that they feel really confident in, not just for this year, but in the years to come as well. So it's good to see. Love seeing those guys.
I feel like if I just kept repeating Bush and Head, you would point it out
somehow.
I would have.
I let Sammy
Sammy
slide.
just get right away with it. Yeah. Sam, appreciate it. Good to see you again this morning. Keep up the good work.
This sun is tough.
It's getting a little bright right now.
This is going to be a tough couple hours for you.
I'm roasting.
Yeah. We're if you see
feel
any
for you.
sunscreen, send it our way, please. I
really have.
I use some at
I
this
face
point.
sunscreen and spray.
Thank
If
you.
you need it, let me know.
Thank you. Please, I would love that. We'll get screened up. Take a little break. We'll come back, hopefully blocked from the sun, and we've got some regular features to get to as well, including play a little Padres SAT, qualify a listener for a trip to Las Vegas. Don't Do This is still on the way as well, so it's all coming up with Bennett Woods, live from Padres Spring Training in Peoria on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Just got to meet one of our Odyssey colleagues.
Yes.
We've talked about the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast with Rob Bradford. He's here today in Padres camp. I think we're going to bring him on at the top of the hour coming up before we get out of here today. Paulie said tomorrow is going to be an absolute
oh my God,
red letter day in the history of Ben and Woods.
Maybe you don't stay up till midnight watching the Aztecs blow out a team by 40 and be dialed tomorrow for the lineup of all lineups.
So Manny told us yesterday he'll stop by tomorrow.
He's always our closer. We always have him on the last
we already
day.
know he's last day.
He's not a first day guy.
I just talked to Joe Musgrove. He's getting a little work done.
Sure.
So he will join us tomorrow.
Okay, perfect.
I've been told that the seed has been planted in his mind.
Okay.
That one Fernando Tatis Jr.
Beautiful. It's been a
will
while.
join us tomorrow.
I wonder if he still remembers the handshake. We'll have to see.
I'm going to have to review video to see if I remember the handshake.
Yeah,
You
fair
don't.
enough.
And then we are still working on Xander Bogaerts as well.
Okay.
It's going to be a hell of a lineup.
I thought there was one more, too.
That's a big day.
Oh, and Jackson Merrill.
And Jackson Merrill
and
tomorrow.
I'm excited about that one for sure.
Mama.
Mr. 20-year-old brimming with confidence Jackson Merrill as well. So, the last day is always chaos and pandemonium when we get out here. Looking forward to it. But it's been a really good second day here as well.
It's been awesome today.
About to do the Mike Schilt newser, so we got everyone over here. While they do that, why don't we get a contestant on the line, play a little Padres SAT, get our questions going, try to qualify a listener for the trip to Las Vegas coming up. Give us a call, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973.
Quickly, hang on.
Yeah.
Jesse, what did you get on your SATs?
Yeah.
100 points higher.
He was
100
a
points
verbal,
higher.
more
Why
verbal
won't you
than
tell
that.
me the number? All right, what was yours?
1410.
Better or worse? Oh, lower. Okay, good.
Oh, wow.
I got a 980. Higher than that.
How did Michael King interview go? We had to compete. We just did him as well. Good? Yeah?
You think
Looking for that content coming up?
Yours was better than ours?
Probably.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm
Fair
sure
enough.
it was good. He got to walk and talk, which is great. So, all right, you can look for that Jesse Agler
Sammy
content
Levitt.
a little bit later. Sammy's delivering. Sammy, sit down again. I'm sure you have like 2 minutes. All right, give him the microphone. Everyone pointed out in the chat, we got to the end of the show yesterday, and we cut you off. You were about to tell us a great Brett Sullivan story, and we never got to it. So, I mean, just the personality of Brett Sullivan that we had no idea.
So, and I want to be very clear. I have not talked to Brett about this yet this spring, but, here's the sunscreen. Yes. And I've got face sunscreen here too. What I was getting at is this. I remember, or really any time that Brett Sullivan has come up from AAA and joined the Major League clubhouse, so many guys come over to talk to him. He's just constantly talking to guys, joking around with guys. Like, it is very clear to me that Brett Sullivan is an extremely popular guy inside the clubhouse and inside the organization. And the point I was making yesterday was that, people gravitate towards Woodsy here. People seem to gravitate towards Brett Sullivan. It's something I want to talk to him about because I'm telling you, I have never seen, when he made his major league debut, so many guys light up in a clubhouse as when Brett Sullivan walked in. He is really popular, like really, really popular.
That's so cool.
And I gotta talk to him about it because he talks to everybody, but he's a catcher, like, to me, and again, I haven't asked him about it, but like, he screams like future manager to me.
Oh, future manager.
Or broadcaster.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because they've said that Luis Camposano is more of a reserve guy, and he's had to kind of force himself to come out of his shell a little bit to be that catcher personality. But I imagine you have something you can learn from Brett Sullivan if he's a natural magnetic guy in the Padres clubhouse.
And I haven't interviewed him yet. I've said hello to him and chatted a little bit, but Kevin Acey wrote something that was pretty interesting the other day about maybe the Padres trying to play him in some different spots because he does have experience outside of catcher and
it's left-handed.
He's a left-handed bat.
Yeah.
Could be useful, right? So interesting. Something to keep in mind.
If you swing at lefty, you have a decent shot.
Have you guys ever talked to him?
No.
I think you'd love him.
No, I bet we would.
I really do.
Those are usually our guys.
I'd
Brian
say
O'Grady's
hello
of
to
the
him
world
if you see him.
Yeah,
I think you'll really like him.
Absolutely. I would take Sully in the second, or Booty as they call him. That's his name. Booty.
All right, thank you, Sammy.
Thank you,
Sammy.
We got Mike Schilt talking here in a second.
Schilt's coming out.
You'll see the show.
While you're doing that, we're going to play a little Padres SAT. We'll do that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. We had a winner yesterday. Let's see if we can get another one today. We got Mac on the line. Mac, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How you guys doing?
We're good. We're good. All right,
we're roasting, but we're good.
So here's what you're playing for. If you can get 4 of our 7 Padres SAT questions correct, you will qualify for our grand prize drawing of a 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas and 2 tickets to Air Supply. Heard Air Supply in the car last night while I was going to get dinner after you guys had settled in for the night.
What song?
I'm All Out of Love, of course. Yeah. Their number 1 hit, right? They'll be performing May 31st and June 1st at the International Theater at the Westgate. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com, or you can win right now here, Mac, by getting 4 out of 7 right. Day 2 of our Padres SAT, and it focuses this time on players from the past. So I will give you 7 multiple choice questions. You get 4 of them right. You will be our winner today. You ready to play, Mac?
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, this one should be fairly easy. Question number 1. In a listing of every Padres player in the history of the franchise, who comes first alphabetically? Is it A, Austin Allen, B, C.J. Abrams, or C, Sean Abner?
Austin Allen.
That is incorrect. A.B. comes before
Abner.
A.L., even though the Austin is an A. It's always by last name. So Sean Abner comes first in the alphabetical
Matt,
listing.
how did you do on your SATs?
I scored pretty well, but
there's no alphabetization in the
Alphabetization.
SATs. Alphabetization.
Just made that word up.
Alphabetization. I don't know if that is a word or not. All right, question number 2, Mac. Which name was shared? You can always ask Woods for help as well. Which name was shared by 3 different Padres players in franchise history? Is it A, Bobby Jones, B, Dave Roberts, or C, Luis Perdomo?
I'm going to go with Bobby Jones.
Bobby Jones. There was Bobby M. Jones. There was Bobby J. Jones, but they were the only 2. There were 3
Perdomos.
There was 2 Perdomos as well.
Yep.
3 different Dave Roberts played for the Padres in franchise history, the most recent being the current manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
All right.
You
do a great job.
We need to bounce back a little bit. Question number 3. Which baseball Hall of Famer never played for the San Diego Padres? Is it A, Phil Niekro, B, Greg Maddux, or C, Willie McCovey?
Go with Phil Niekro.
Phil Niekro is correct. Yes, both Maddux.
C. McCovey
And
was here?
McCovey did play here a little bit.
man.
Actually lived in the same building as my grandparents on Mission Bay.
Oh, of course.
All right, that's one
Shocking.
correct answer. We've got question number 4 here, Padres SAT for Mac. Which one of these future MLB managers once played for the Padres? Is it A, Bobby Valentine, B, Joe Torre, C, Dusty Baker, or D, Lou Piniella? Which one once played for the Padres? Bobby Valentine, Joe Torre, Dusty Baker, Lou Piniella. Mac?
Let's use the lifeline. I'll ask one.
Woodsy, what do you think?
Give me him again.
Bobby Valentine, Joe Torre, Dusty Baker, or Lou Piniella?
I'm going to say Dusty Baker.
Dusty Baker. Mac, what do you go with?
I just know he didn't. So.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Good
not,
for you.
I'll give you that clue. It's not Dusty Baker. So pick one of the other 3.
Go with Valentine.
Bobby V. That's correct.
Right.
Yes,
Very
he
good.
was a Padre for a short time. That is 2 correct. You're back on track. All right. If you get 2 out of these last 3, you will win. Question number 5. Which of these former Padres had a Padre dad who also played for the Padres? Which of these former Padres had a dad who played for the Padres? A, Nick Hundley, B, Cal Quantrill, C, Brett Kennedy, or D, Bubba Trammell?
I'm all out of lifelines.
No,
Yeah,
you can use
you're
as
out of
many as you
lifelines.
want.
No,
you
you're
don't
out.
want.
No,
Woods
you're out.
doesn't know. That's
No,
why he doesn't
he's
want
out.
you to ask.
Nope, you're out.
I'll go with Cal Quantrill.
Cal Quantrill is correct. His dad, Paul Quantrill, played for the Padres. Very good. All right, one more correct, and you are our winner. Who is the only Padres player in franchise history with a last name beginning with the letter Z? Is it Mike Zunino, Ben Zobrist, or Lance Zawadski?
Woods, you got anything?
C. I know this
He
one.
says C.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Lance Zawadzki.
C is correct.
Winner.
Lance Zawadzki. Zunino
Winner.
and Zobrist never played for the Padres. That's a winner.
That's a winner.
Congratulations,
Okay.
Matt. You're
buddy.
qualified for the trip to Las Vegas. Stay on the line, Frankie. You'll get your information back in the studio. Last one for you, Woods. Which of these pitchers never made an opening day start for the Padres? Is it A, Eric Lauer, B, Tim Stauffer, C, Dave Dravecky, or D, Kevin Jarvis?
A.
No, Eric
C.
Lauer did make a start. Yeah, Dave Dravecky. Never. Our new pal Dave Dravecky actually
Sweet
never
angel.
made an opening day start. I think Ed Whitson made one. Tim Lawler made one back in the
Lawler made
80s,
one.
but Dave Dravecky never made the opening day start for the San Diego Padres. Good job. We'll have one more SAT chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas tomorrow morning.
That was hard. People in the chat were like, holy smokes, it was hard. SAT's
Well, I mean,
getting harder.
it's multiple
progressive.
choice,
I know.
and questions are going to get hard. If it's too easy, then everyone just gets a perfect score.
That's
and then
true.
How are you going to determine who actually gets into Padres College?
That's true.
if
That's true.
everyone gets a perfect score,
I like
in
the
their SAT.
ACTs better. Aren't those
Did you
easier?
do the ACTs?
No.
I didn't do the ACTs.
That was the rumor when we were young.
Now, did you take any AP tests with
No.
the written, like the essays at
No.
the end? And you had to, your hand would get so tired. You'd have to write like 5 pages in the book, like an essay question. I hated essay questions.
AP tests?
Yeah.
Yeah. I never took the test because I only took a couple AP classes and I could read the writing on the wall. I knew it wasn't going
This
well.
isn't for me.
And you had to get, I think, a 3 out of
3
5
to get college credit. You need
I
to
was
get
like,
at least a 3. Yeah.
we had all the practice tests and I was getting 1s, maybe a 2, another 1, another 1. And I'm
And
like,
you had to pay like $100.
it was 150 bucks to
yeah,
the test. And I go,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm 16 years old. I'm not wasting $150 to not get the college credit.
Yeah.
So my teacher was pissed.
I don't know if this will surprise you guys. I did not take my academic career all that seriously.
It
Just
doesn't.
FYI.
It doesn't shock me, but you are an intelligent guy.
Well, I like to read.
And verbally and stuff. I mean, like, were you a good essay writer?
Yeah, very good.
See, you were a good essay writer.
Ridiculously.
Street
Ridiculous.
smarts, book smarts.
No, I had a lot of book smarts, but it was
Nowadays-
books. It was not any. It was not science. It was
Now,
not.
Paul, did you ever have to write out essays by hand, or was it all digital by the time you got to school?
Both.
The blue book.
The blue book
The
essays.
blue book was
Yeah,
a
they don't do
nightmare.
that anymore. Everything's now typed in, and you don't have to do the blue book like I used to do in college.
I wrote papers for other
high
people
school.
in college
I
all
don't
the
know.
time.
I don't know if
Handwritten. I got
kids.
paid.
Ooh.
No, on the
On the
laptop.
okay.
Yeah, the computer lab.
Really? What
Yeah.
was the going rate for a Woods
$100
paper?
Yeah.
$100.
My buddy Bobby would pay me $100 to write his
Like,
papers.
were you in the class? So you already
No.
knew the subject. So you had to actually
Cold.
learn,
cold?
then write.
Yep.
I think you may have undervalued those services.
I think I did.
Now,
actually,
I don't know if kids are still learning cursive, but I know like in 3rd grade, that was all we did was we learned how to
Cursive.
write in cursive.
Yep.
I haven't used it since 3rd
Yeah.
grade.
I
Completely
mean,
useless.
we needed it to write our essays.
Yeah.
In those blue books, because you had to write fast, so you had to keep writing. And I remember how
It
sore
would be gnarly.
your arm would
Yeah.
be at the end of one of those essay tests.
Well, we had, for every English class, you'd have to write a ton of essays, but we didn't have laptops and stuff in college. So we actually would go to a computer lab, sign in, use your student ID, and you sit there for 7 hours firing off papers left and right.
I do remember AP history. My history teacher was great in high school because he taught it like a college course,
Yeah.
where it was just a lecture and he just talked. And we just took notes for an hour and a half
Yep.
straight, taking notes. And we're like, the first day we go, this was the worst class ever. And he goes, I'm just telling you, get ready because this is what
That's
every
what college is.
seminar is like.
That's
And
exactly
he was
right.
right.
Well, I hope I'm not dredging up too many bad memories with our Padres SAT questions this week. We'll only do them one more day tomorrow. Let's take a time out, top of the hour. Get our new our Odyssey colleague, Rob Bradford's here. We're going to get him sometime. Mike Schilt is coming out to speak as well. It's a little behind schedule today. The punctual Mike Schilt already postponed by 15 minutes, and now he's late, too. I wonder what's going on back there. He's busy. He's
Never
a busy
know.
man today. It's all coming up with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station. Final hour. Day 2 in Peoria coming up next here on The Fan. Welcome back to the Peoria Sports Complex. Final hour of Ben and Woods is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. And Woods, we're sitting down now with someone who is spreading the gospel that we have agreed with for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Rob Bradford, you probably heard us mention his Odyssey podcast. It's called Baseball Isn't Boring. And I love that message, Rob. Thank you for sitting down and joining us, because I think baseball has gotten a bad reputation from some sports fans over the years. Like, it's the quiet, slow sport. Yeah, I mean, it's for some people, it's not for everybody. I've never agreed with that. I think football can be boring sometimes, but baseball for me is always exciting.
Well, first of all, it's awesome to be with you guys. I admire you guys so much from afar, and just talking about spreading the word of baseball. You guys do such a good job of it. I'm just doing it through stickers and T-shirts and smiles.
So are we.
Yeah. You go with what you know. But I to that point, one of the things that we've asked people on the podcast, Marvin Harrison Jr., we had on the podcast.
That's awesome.
And he said, listen, hitting a home run is more difficult than scoring a touchdown.
Yeah.
Guys have consistently said that going to a baseball game is by far the best thing to go to, because football's made for TV, basketball and hockey's too fast. And I think people forget all of this stuff. And this is part of what sort of we've talked about. It's been about a 2-year project that started with Joe Kelly, who I did a book with. And so it's not a hard message, because as you said, I ask everybody at the end of our interviews, why isn't baseball boring? And everyone gives a different answer. And by the way, they're always good.
Yeah. And they're always right. If you were going to ask us that question, for me, it's the cerebral nature of the game, and how fast the game actually is when you're playing really at any level. I mean, it's incredibly fast when you're out there on the field, especially if they hit one your way, or you're on the mound, or you're behind the dish, or you're at the plate. It speeds up on you really, really quickly. And I can't even imagine what it's like for these guys out at that level, man. But it is, for me, it's always been the thinking man's game. It's a chess match, which I love. It's the greatest. It is just ingrained in me.
For me, I think it's in baseball, it's like every game there's something you've never seen
every
before.
game.
Like a situation comes up,
and you're like, what?
I never even considered that. Like, and they played tens of thousands of Major League Baseball games, and this situation has never come up. And well, yeah, the football's athletes are incredible. It's the same grid kind of every time. Yeah, there's spectacular catches, but you see those kind of every game. It's more formulaic. I feel like baseball is more open and unpredictable from the start to the end of every game.
Oh, yeah. And you're talking about going to a game, right? It's a combination of, and I think Joe said this, it's ballet, chess, and cannon fire, where you're waiting, you're talking about what just happened, and then boom, somebody does something incredible. Manny Machado makes a great play. Xander Bogaerts makes a great play. Like, oh, my goodness. And then you talk about it again. With a lot of these other sports, you're just moving on. It's a constant thing. But I think it's so unique. And I think what they did last year was help us edge toward, all right, this is a more palatable thing. Right?
Yeah, and it took it back. We talked about this yesterday with Jesse Agler. It took the game back a little bit.
The pitch clock.
And some of the rule changes and things like that. It took it back a little bit to the way it used to be, a little bit more action. Let's get it moving. And I agreed. Somebody tweeted the other day, there was they had Secretariat winning the Kentucky Derby, and he won the Kentucky Derby in the same time that it took Zach Greinke to throw one pitch. I'm not kidding. It was 2 minutes or something. And it was like, you know what? You're right. We needed that. And it helped a lot of guys. It hurt some guys, whatever. But I think baseball was – I will give Rob Manfred credit for instituting – that's about the only thing I give him credit for in his tenure. Getting that back and getting the game moving again, it does feel different.
It's funny because when I sat down for spring training games last year, it was we talk about stories. We're telling stories on the broadcast, and we're getting halfway through these stories. Well, we have to get used to this.
You're right.
This is unbelievable. And I think at the end of the day, everybody, hey, you get to go home earlier. Urgency is such a key word, right? Urgency, it needs more urgency. And that's what they gave us, more urgency. To your point, where this is going to land with injuries, where we had Matt Strom on.
Yeah,
former
we love Strom.
Great guy, right? and obviously very opinionated.
Yes.
And of all the things I've done in my professional career, bizarrely, the thing that went most viral was when he came on the podcast and vented about beer sales.
Yes, that's right. I remember that.
And I thought it was a really, really good point, which is his point was everybody, the owners are saying you were shutting off beer sales in the 7th so everyone can sober up. Then you heard teams pushing into the 8th and the 9th, and he said, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like that. You aren't going to sober up in the 8th and the 9th
Of
inning.
course.
And so it's things like that where we didn't think about it, but at the root of it, watching the game and getting other people to watch a game, I think last year was the huge step forward.
Rob Bradford is with us, host of the Baseball Isn't Boring Odyssey podcast. When it comes to some of your other guests, who stood out so far on the podcast?
Well, it's funny when you're talking about comparing things. Joey Votto stood out because he makes you work for it, man.
Bro, he is. We had him on once, and it is like, it's not only does he make you work for it, he
also told a fake story about Brandon Drury.
Drury that got us in trouble with Brandon Drury. He's a lunatic. He's a lunatic.
So we had him on is right when he was taking the subway, these chess matches and everything else. And so, hey, listen, we'll talk about chess. And the obvious question is, hey, baseball's a lot like chess. And he's like, no, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Just shuts you down.
It's like checkers. And then he goes on for 15 minutes. And then I saw him again at the park, and we did another podcast. And look, Justin Turner's wearing the Baseballs and Boring T-shirt. Isn't that great? It's like, don't you want a T-shirt? It's like, no, I don't need a T-shirt to tell me that. Like, and then again, then he goes on for 15 minutes. But I liked it. I liked that. Like, he makes you work. I like people who give you the unexpected.
He's very unexpected.
And so we've had on everybody, from the commissioner to we had. And Xander was great last year. I've known Xander for obviously from Boston for a long time, and I just like honesty. I said to Kenley Jansen, we had him on the other day, and I said, and maybe this is the tools of the trade. Kenley, you were on last year. It got a lot of buzz. It got a lot of buzz because you were honest. You are going to be honest now, right? Please be honest. Do not be honest.
Right.
Like it's all like a challenge to them. And I think for the most part, you know how it is, guys. When guys sit down here or guys sit down for a podcast, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
It's not just
that's
like
what you
checking off. That's all you want. And that's one of the things that has been really a pleasure for me doing this. So many different people I've gotten a chance to do it with.
Well, and the fact is that I never really get enough baseball content. I don't. And so many people, I don't get upset about, there's, the old media, the new media. I love it, man, because if you can get access to something that I couldn't get, I'm still going to enjoy the hell out of it. I really am. And I appreciate everyone that's out there grinding, trying to get the best interesting content, because these guys are interesting. They really are. And if you can bring some of that interesting stuff out of them, it just makes everything better.
The podcast thing's an interesting. I could go on for an hour about it.
Right.
But it's an interesting dynamic because I think guys, when they sit down and do it, they love it. Like they absolutely love it. I mean, that's GMs who we don't have time. Then you sit down. Okay, an hour later, it's just two guys talking. It's a conversation. But at the same time, there's a lot more podcasts. A lot more people are demanding of these guys time. And then, as you guys know, you have the soul set up here and everything else. There's so much of it. Now it's separating it. Now it's, hey, did you see what this? To your point, it's all good. It's all good because at the end of the day, the players are embracing it more. They're not as protective of their brand. And that's what we can have. That's what we've been screaming about for years about baseball. They're behind the NBA. They're behind NFL. Holy mackerel, baseball a couple of years ago let them wear different colors on their shoes for the first time.
Yeah.
Like finally we're getting to the point where this is all entertaining.
Here's the only problem I see, Rob. I can hear our boss, Adam, back at the station thinking, well, if Rob's doing this Odyssey podcast, why can't Ben and Woods do their own Odyssey baseball podcast?
This is a podcast.
We do a 4-hour radio show.
But that's what it is,
but
right?
we podcast it,
Right.
I mean, it's all available. But he's thinking like an extra podcast, I'm sure.
When he starts letting me curse on the air, then I will consider doing a podcast. That's the fun part about doing a podcast.
This is what I'm going to do for you, all right? I'm going to fend that off. I'm going to say, you guys, whenever you want to talk baseball, anytime, because our podcast is every day, every single day.
Yeah.
And so anytime you are welcome in, and whatever you want to talk about, whoever you want to talk to, I don't care. You guys are great guys to talk baseball. And again, just It's just us talking.
I love
So
it.
just tell them, say, the podcast, we're going to do it for the Baseballs and Boring
Yeah,
podcast.
that would be fun.
anytime. That'd be
That
awesome.
would be
checks
fun.
off that box.
That would
There
be
you
fun.
go.
Yeah, I'm all about it.
Well, I'm glad you were able to stop by Padres
Oh,
camp.
man.
Are you hitting all the spring training
this
camps
is
here in Arizona?
This is so foreign to me because I'm based in Fort Myers, and it's an hour and a half to get to anywhere to the next. I talked to Chris Sale. I had to drive an hour and a half. That was the next team that I could talk to. So I was at Dodgers. I don't know if you know this, but there's a guy, Shohei Ohtani, and he's
How
playing
is it
today.
over there? Is it insane?
It's, you know what, we were just saying,
Yeah.
it's kind of like it probably, I swung through here last year. It kind of feels the same.
Last year was nuts.
It kind of
was
feels the
nuts.
same. Like it's so, yeah, it's a little bit different because you have just a huge, obviously, a whole collection of media that's coming in. Today is a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's an entertaining group. Like I said, the guy who helped launch this, I don't know if Padres fans want to hear this.
We don't
but
like Joe Kelly. That's fine. That's fine. Probably a great guy.
But listen, it's good to have the arch enemies.
Sure,
right?
Max Muncy had some great insight for you as well.
So let's just say what I've done here in the half an hour that I've been here has been far more exciting than over at Dodgers camp.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you heard it from Rod Bradford. It's just like it was here last year, which means the Dodgers are about to have the most disappointing season.
Yeah, 2 games
in
over
baseball
500.
history.
I can't wait.
They're just trying to. They can't win more than 3 in a row all year
Yeah,
long.
Thank you, Rob.
They can't win a 1-run game. They can't win an extra inning game. It's just going to all fall apart for them this year. It's coming.
You're listening.
It's coming.
Not that it stuck with you at all.
No, not at all. We're not bitter. We're not bitter at all. Totally ready to flush
Dave Roberts, better get those resumes freshened up.
Yeah.
There's no chance you're back next year.
Crazy.
Rob, it was great to meet you. Thank you for stopping by. Really
Thank you, man.
Good to see
Check
you
out the
guys.
podcast, Odyssey Podcast. Baseball isn't boring.
All right, let's take a timeout. We will check traffic, and then we still have Don't Do This to get to. Did I hear something about Bob Scanlan stopping by? Yes, Bob Scanlan, the Scan Man, with a tall drink of water. I think he might even be tall this year. It's possible.
I think he did
Is he
grow.
still growing?
Yeah.
He always looks like he's still growing somehow. We'll talk to Scan Man coming up as well. After a check of traffic, more Ben and Woods on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Just a couple of segments left here on day 2. Ben and Woods at Padres Spring Training in Peoria, Arizona. Annie and Elston coming up at 10 o'clock. But sitting down with us right now, Padres broadcaster Bob Scanlan. Scan, it's great to see you. It looks like you grew a little bit in the offseason. How tall are you now?
Yeah, we're up to 7'2" now, I think. Oh, great to see you guys. I know you guys have been busy. Every time I look over here, you've got somebody sitting in the chair. You're talking ball with players and coaches and front office staff and media. And so it looks like you guys have had a good time.
It's the best. The guys have been great so far. We were talking to Michael King earlier.
Oh, how fun is he to talk with?
He's amazing. He's like a natural with the mic, and I said, "Oh, great." And there's another guy that's going to be coming for your job, my job, our job. But he was actually mentioned you. He was talking about the splitty that he's working on, and was talking to you a little bit about how you threw yours. And what a nasty pitch! What a nasty pitch if you can master it.
No doubt about it. Yeah, it was the pitch that got me to the big leagues. Actually, I was a fastball, slider, curveball, changeup guy throughout my entire career, and then all of a sudden, one of my pitching coaches, George Culver, said, "Scan, have you ever tried the splitty?" And busted it out, and really it was the pitch that got me traded. So I was in the Philly organization at that time. Hugh Alexander was a scout in the Phillies organization at that point. He went over to the Cubs organization, and he'd seen me throw that splitter the year before. So when the Cubs were trying to trade, they were trying to trade Mitch Williams to the Phillies, or the Phillies were trying to attain Mitch Williams. The scout that said, "Hey, let's get Bob Scanlan in that deal," was Hugh Alexander. And later on, I heard he said it was because you had that splitty now, kid. So it was a difference maker.
It's an intimidating pitch to throw. I mean, you feel like you can't get I never could throw one. I couldn't even throw one messing around.
Yeah.
Did you have to walk around with a ball in between your fingers to stretch them out?
I did.
I've heard that. Yeah,
exactly. In fact, I put a softball between my fingers as well. Whatever you can do to try to stretch things out and give yourself maximum flexibility with those fingers and mess around with it.
We had Stephen Wilson on earlier, and he was actually showing.
Oh, it was Wilson that said it,
was showing. And I talked to him because he's in his third year, and I think he's got a spot, but he says I got options for 3 years. I don't know that I'm going to be here. It must be very hard having to try to break out a new pitch while you're also trying to make a team. And Scan, you were never overly comfortable, I think, in your major league career. I mean, you're a good big leaguer, but you never felt like I've made it. I'm never going down again. I mean, you kind of have to ride that kind of edge of I'm learning at the same time, but I got to show that I can still do this at any moment.
Look, there's 70 guys in camp, and they're all clamoring to get that big league job. So even if you have one of those big league jobs, somebody wants that job that you have. I mean, you're constantly fighting, to stay on top and also to make yourself better so that you can help the team, so you can be that guy that skipper can go to and in the key clutch situation. Or if somebody goes down, you want to be the guy to be able to step up and be a little bit more maybe than you were on the team the year before. So, and it's that constant balance, right, guys? Of this is what's working for me, and that's good. That's what's gotten me to the big leagues, and I've been successful, versus is there more in the tank? Is there more I can do? And the league is adjusting, right? So what worked last year, all of a sudden those guys are spitting on that slider or that two-seamer. So it is that balance. It's no doubt about it. And I give credit to guys who have the courage to try to push themselves out of their comfort zone, because you're going to fail for a while. Nobody likes to fail. Especially these guys.
Waldron throwing the knuckleball. That's fluttering one up there to these big giant hitters. That's got to be terrifying.
No.
Just to know, I'm trusting that somehow physics is going to make this ball dart and not hit their bat and go 500 feet when they hit it.
I have total respect for anybody that has the courage to try something different and put themselves in a position where they may fail. And to your point, to throw something up there that slow and it's going to come back at you 106, you better have a big glove to hide behind up there. So kudos to those guys. He's looked great, by the way, this spring. Fastball's been good. The slider's been good. And he used his knuckleball early in the game the other day, so you can tell he's getting more confidence in it. So you
do wonder when you have a pitch like that in your arsenal, talking to Bob Scanlan here on Ben and Woods this morning, I wonder if it's been a directive from Ruben and Fritzy. Throw it more, throw it more. It's so devastating. And you see guys with 25-year careers that when do you go from, all right, I'm now a knuckleballer, because there just those guys aren't around anymore. I can't even remember the last one before, like Steve Sparks or something. I really can't remember the last one that came in and almost exclusively threw that knuckleball. Why wouldn't he throw it more?
You have to have confidence in it that you're going to be able to throw it where you want to throw it. Otherwise, you're behind in the count. And Ben's point, you're going
to have to throw a heater at some point.
Exactly. And it's floating up there and it doesn't have anything on it. It's going to end up over the wall or coming back at you at 110. So it's just a confidence thing, mostly, of feeling like, when can I use it? What situation am I getting the reaction out of it I need to? And a lot of it also is just having the guts to say, okay, I'm going to throw this thing first pitch. Here it is, and you have some success with it. Oh wow, that actually worked. So easier said than done. They're just, hey, go throw it. You're the guy that's on the mound. You're the guy with the game on the line. Your teammates are depending on you. You've got 40,000 people in the stands, and you don't want to stink out there.
No doubt.
Right?
No doubt.
Padres broadcaster Bob Scanlan is with us. How did the first broadcast of the season go yesterday? We were at the game, so didn't really get to see it. Mud's lost his fastball, hasn't he?
Yeah, Mud's working on a splitter as well.
Is Mud short?
Yeah.
Really? He usually sits 96, 97. He was only at 91 yesterday.
He's working on some stuff.
He's pacing himself.
Yeah.
He's getting ready for the postseason. He's a veteran guy. He doesn't have to.
Yeah,
we were talking about guys that need to make the team. I think he's good. I think he's made the team, so he can pace himself a little bit. Yeah.
Talk about for a second Joe Musgrove, because he's going to come on with us tomorrow.
Nice.
And 2 outings so far, not great, but it's spring training. These games don't really count at all.
Yep.
He's working on a new pitch. He's working on a sweeper, I guess, trying to a little bit different look. He's also trying something new, and you just talked about those guys. But Joe is also. I'm going to ask him this tomorrow, but he's a super competitive guy. He does not want to go out there. It doesn't matter if it's spring training or the backfield. He don't want to stink, right? And so for him, it's got to be like, all right, I'm. What have you seen from him?
Yeah, no, the main thing is, thank goodness the shoulder has been good. From day number one, talking to him, he's like, shoulder feels great. He's throwing his bullpens. He felt strong. He's been aggressive. So that's the first step, right? Everything feels good physically. And then I think you already summed it up in terms of he's working on some new things. Like everything's a little bit faster this year in terms of Korea. Maybe a couple of less live BPs than guys would have normally had. So now you're working on things in game. So I'm not worried about Joe yet. Would we rather be seeing him mowing right from the get-go? Yeah, of course.
Him too, probably.
Yeah, no doubt.
He wants that sweeper to be working right now.
Yeah, but he's working on that new pitch, and there's a combination of things when you break out a new pitch. First of all, you need to know that analytically it's actually working, right? So that's the first step, which is cool. Next step is you've got to know where to start it, because it's going to have a different ending point. So do I start it on the outer third? Do I start it at the catcher's shin guard? Where am I starting that pitch to get it where I want it to be? And then the final part is, once you have those two things down to know where it's going to end up, how it's going to react, how do I set it up? What do I need to use in my rest of my repertoire so that the batter is actually starting to bid on that pitch? So there's multiple steps that go. You don't just show up and say, I got a new pitch and it's working great from day number one. So I'm sure Joe's going to figure it out, and he's got a few more starts for Korea.
With the shortened spring training, we've heard a couple of guys talk about the pitching camp that Joe kind of put on before spring training to get everyone kind of going a little bit faster. Now, but that's more of a normal thing nowadays too. You were kind of on the cusp of, there was the off season, and then there was, you show up in spring training and start to get ready. Nowadays, guys are pretty much training all year long, and spring training is ramping up. I mean,
I personally did, because I was always trying to make a team. But honestly, when I first came up, it was still the era of guys showing up to spring training to get in shape. You'd see
10
veteran
pounds
guys.
overweight.
Oh yeah, they got the beer belly going.
That's why I'm here.
Literally, they're sitting in the training rooms, smoking their smag. Kent to Colby smoking a cigarette in the training room. Bobby, I've been waiting my whole life for this injury. It's the perfect injury. I don't have to run, but I can still pitch.
Fantastic, dude. It's such a foregone era, man. Oh, my God.
I got a chance to see that era, which is really cool. Now I get a chance to see this new era where guys
but now
are really working out
365 pretty much. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But the thing with Joe, it's not just the physical side. It's that leadership quality in him in terms of having that camp in the offseason, bringing everybody in. Hey, let's get together. Let's bond. Let's talk baseball. Let's know that we're committed when spring training's coming on, and we're in this thing together. So it's not just the physical side for Joe. For me, it's the leadership qualities that he continues to exhibit more and more each season, and that's another example of it.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Yeah,
he's a stud.
doubt.
We're really looking forward to catching up with him tomorrow.
Yeah.
I know no one ever has the answer to this question, but what are the TV broadcasts going to look like a little bit during the regular season? Are you going to be on the pre and the post and in the dugout? You've got a new colleague.
Yeah.
We met her yesterday, Mary Lou.
Oh, did Mary Lou stop by?
No,
not yet. But we just talked to her. We're going to get her on at some point.
Yeah, she's been great. Super happy to have her on board, and I think she's going to be working with Mike Pomeranz in the pregame and the postgame show, doing the hosting on that. She'll be working with me on the sideline reporting as well.
You still get to be down there, though, in your little well?
Yeah, I'll still be down in my well.
Just roasting in your well like we are right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
Cooking away. That's why I've got an umbrella. I told Mary Lou, hey, get an umbrella.
Get an umbrella.
You're going to need one. Not just for the rain, but for the sun when we're sitting out there. But the cool thing about what I get a chance to do in the broadcast is I do the field reporting. I also get a chance to do pregame, postgame. I'm up in the radio booth working with Jesse. Sometimes I'm working with Tony. So I'm the utility guy. I got the 6 gloves in my bag. Whatever you need today, Skip. Sometimes they need me to catch. Sometimes it's first base. Sometimes I come in and close. So it's fun. I get a chance to do a bunch of different things.
I love it, Scan. Great to have you back. Great to have you
Thanks.
out here at spring training.
Yeah, great to see you guys out here.
Appreciate it very much.
I hope you don't get too cooked out here.
We're getting close to the end, thank God, but I feel like a rotisserie chicken.
7'3" next year when we see you,
Yeah,
just a little bit
Exactly,
taller.
yeah, as long as I'm getting good
keep
sunshine,
going, yeah.
we keep growing, right?
Water on
Guys,
them, feed
always a
them,
pleasure.
and
keep up the great work.
keep growing.
All right,
Just
have
like
fun.
a chia pet,
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it.
he just keeps shooting up. Bob Scanlan, Padres.TV broadcaster for the upcoming season. All right, let's take our final timeout. We still have Don't Do This to get to. I have a story from, I think it was a collegiate swim meet, which is something we are not in the habit of covering here, but it was a fairly remarkable don't and do this at the same time that I saw last night that I want to get to. So get to that in our final segment coming up with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Did you know you can listen to 97.3 The Fan with your smart speaker? Just ask your device to play 97.3 The Fan to give it a shot. Just was talking with TJ Laidlaw out here, Padres chief. He's the equipment guy. He's in charge. Yeah, it's a huge
massive undertaking.
Huge task. He actually has been out here for I think over almost a month now. They left, I think, the day before February in the trucks. Massive trucks.
He's the one that that's his baby. It's truck day. That is his.
That's the Super Bowl.
Get everything out. You got to move an entire operation, an entire state over, and have it all set up for everyone who's going to be arriving. And then, of course, you've got to undo it all in a couple of weeks when the team gets off to Korea. You got to pack them up for Korea. You got to bring everything back to Petco Park. Get ready for the season. It's about as big of a logistical job as you can imagine.
It's what Paulie does. He's our TJ.
He is.
He gets everything dialed in. Paulie actually took the bull by the horns and hit us with this morning. He said, I actually made a reservation for us for tonight. So we're all set. I said, this is unbelievable.
I mean, the last thing you want when you're going to be taking the skipper out.
Can you imagine?
Is you arrive if you have changed. It's going to be an hour and 20 minutes.
You're like,
guess we're going to Chipotle.
Guess we're going back to Chipotle, Mike.
Can you just sit here on this bench for an hour and 20 minutes while we wait for our table?
So no worries there. Thank you, Paulie.
Very
for
smart.
That.
Very smart. That's a do this. We'll get to all the don't and do this is after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The
Don't do this.
It's time for Don't Do This.
What were you thinking?
3 stories from the world of sports that make us all shake our heads.
Why? How many times do I have to tell you?
I'm sorry, I fudged up, guys.
You idiot. You moron. You dumbass.
The apple sometimes does fall from the tree.
Don't do this.
Do not tweet that.
With Ben and Woods.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
On 97.3 The Fan.
Don't do this. Brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sereno Valley. The Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. We've experienced it for ourselves. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. What's his first don't do this is the Arizona sun, which you are now broiling in. You gonna be okay? You gonna make it another 10 minutes or so?
I'm cooked.
Yeah.
I saw this story come out yesterday, and maybe it looked worse than it's better than it looked yesterday, but there's an update on former Las Vegas Raiders cornerback Damon Arnett. Played at Ohio State University, was a first-round draft pick of the Raiders a few years ago. So he was arrested in Texas for gun possession and, meth. And he said, this whole thing is just a big misunderstanding. So Richardson, Texas, a suburb of Dallas, and charged with possession of less than a gram of meth and unlawful carrying of a firearm. You hear that and you go, well, they found you with meth. You're toast, my friend. Turns out his attorney says our client at the time of the stop was unable to provide law enforcement with his prescription for a lawful medication. The arrest was predicated on him being unable to provide the medication was prescribed. Had he been able to do so at the time of the stop, there would have been no arrest for either the controlled substance or the firearm, because you can carry without a license in Texas. So the gun charge should be wiped out.
But can you get a prescription for street meth?
If it's a baggie of meth, he's toast. If it's his Adderall, he might be fine.
Well, yeah,
but it doesn't say that. It's less than a gram of meth.
I think there's some gray area on this one for sure.
Yeah, if it's in a pill bottle and it's
I've seen Breaking Bad. They go and buy Sudafed to make meth, so there is technically meth in some of those cold medications.
No,
right?
The other way around.
There's some of the cold medications in the meth.
Okay, well, it's part of the ingredient list.
I'm not super familiar with meth.
You're
not? I'm surprised that you're not very well versed in meth.
Is that it's made very close to our Airbnb. That's all. That's all I know.
Let's put it this way. If you wanted to buy meth,
don't go in the garage.
You could go to Willow Lane.
Don't go in the garage. All right, I got a two for here. It's a don't do this followed by a do this, and it all comes from the ACC Swimming and Diving Championships that were just conducted. We don't do a lot of swimming and diving.
I watched the entire
coverage,
program. It was
you?
fantastic. I think I know where you're going here.
The story involves a North Carolina State swimmer, Owen Lloyd, in the final of the 1,650-meter freestyle. And Owen Lloyd, at a the race of his life, finished in 14 minutes, 37 seconds to win the race. His next competitor finished 2 seconds right behind him.
Okay.
So as Owen Lloyd looks up, you know how you look up and you see you've touched it first, your name's up there at the top, everyone else is coming in. He jumps for joy. I am so excited, and lands on the lane divider between him and the guy next to him, who's already finished his race, but he falls over into that guy's lane. And technically, I guess, because of NCAA rules, because the guys on the outside hadn't quite finished yet, if you leave your lane while the race is still in progress, you are disqualified. And so they took away the title from him and gave it to the guy, Ross Dant,
that finished
who
2
finished
seconds.
second, 2 seconds behind. That's obviously the don't do this, whether it's him not knowing the rules or the rules just be
ridiculous,
really ridiculous and stupid. But here's where the do this comes in. So they interviewed the winner, Ross Dant, right after the race. And here's what he had to say about Owen Lloyd's disqualification. This is a guy they want to give the win to.
A strange one, I know, for you. Congratulations on one hand. Do you have any idea what happened and your emotions right now?
I think that's the dumbest rule in swimming. Owen beat me fair and square. He should be on that total podium. He was excited. That's a huge win for him, right? He earned that, and that's his emotion, right? That's what we get in the sport of swimming when we do well. We train all year for a moment like that, and to have him disqualified, I think is the dumbest thing ever.
Do you mind?
He works so hard every day. He is going to be on the #1 trophy. I am not going to stand up there.
Ross, do you mind if I ask you what rule did he break? We haven't even heard of up here.
Whenever you win, you're not allowed. Well, the other team, or excuse me, the other swimmers are still swimming. You have to stay in your own lane. You're not allowed to jump or cross over the lane line into someone's lane. And in his celebration, which he earned, he came over to my lane. No, he earned that fair and square. He will be getting that medal.
Wow.
Well done.
Thank you, Ross.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending some time with us, giving us.
How about that? I mean, you know what? The guy
technical.
could have. I mean, everyone's won something on a technicality. It's like, hey, I could have this gold medal forever. I won the ACC, my big race, my senior year, whatever. And he said, no, I didn't earn it.
He didn't.
I
He
didn't
knows
earn
he
it. I didn't earn it. The guy finished 2 seconds faster than me. He earned it. He worked harder. He got there.
Yeah.
I didn't get there. This is the dumbest
It's like he
rule.
got popped for
Yeah, I was
something.
just gonna say something. Well, we found he had horse steroids in him, and of course he won. Bro, he slipped into my lane. He was excited. A huge win for him. He's worked hard. I think that is massively rare and a huge dub for what is his name? Owen
Lloyd was the winner,
Owen
and
Lloyd.
Ross Dant was
Ross
the kid who we
Dant.
just heard from, who finished second, who refused to take the first place trophy medal.
It's a lot of integrity, man.
Away from the other
That's
guy.
a lot of integrity.
Pretty
That's
cool.
a lot. And, listen, I understand. And people in the chat are saying, well, that rule's been in place for a while. Absolutely. Yeah, rules are there for a reason, certainly. I think that we are sometimes too married to the technicalities and the rules of certain sports. I do. And I think that might be a case-by-case
There
basis.
is a debate to be had whether the spirit of the rules versus is it a rule if you just selectively enforce it. If you don't feel like it's that important, then you don't enforce it, but then it's not really a rule. It's just kind of a suggestion at that point.
I feel like in golf, there's a lot of that, and there's debates every single year about.
They try to take as much of that out of golf as possible. Try to make it as very black and white, so you can officiate it yourself, and there's no questions. It's very strict on the rules because of that, but it ends up you get penalized for some really dumb things in golf.
There's a lot of dumb penalties. I mean, there's a lot. Just off the top of my head, there's the scorecard thing that just came into play.
Jordan
Spieth
yep.
getting banked for that, and
everyone knows what his score was. Everyone watched it. Someone else marked it all down, and because he was rushing to get to the bathroom, and something got written down wrong, and he signed it and he left, he's disqualified from the tournament.
It's tough. Rules. I'm not saying rules are made to be broken, but I think that you can look at it on a case-by-case basis.
I always think the job of any official or any rule maker is to make the competition as fair as possible.
For sure.
Did this make it more fair or less fair in this swimming case? And in this case, they made it less fair.
Yeah.
They took away the guy who actually earned the victory and didn't do anything to stop anyone else from doing it.
Didn't impede anyone else.
They made it less fair by implementing that rule.
Ah, man, what a great speech that is.
Yeah.
It does. It takes a lot of integrity to do that and say, nope, that's not mine. I'm not going up there.
And that is don't and do this for a Tuesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Can we get one more do this? I want to replay the Sammy Levitt Jr. audio.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody
If
missed
you
it
missed it
at the very start of today's show? Maybe you're not on social media. You didn't see it yesterday, but we're walking around the backfields yesterday after the show, and there were tier ones galore. And Beatrice?
Yeah, Beatrice.
Beatrice. Tier one Beatrice.
They are here.
They are here. Okay, so we're going to track them down. But they came up to us yesterday, and her son Max had a Sammy Levitt impression that not only floored us, but floored Sammy Levitt himself. Frank, if you have that audio, I'd love to hear it.
Hey, guys, it's Woodsy live from spring training. I'm joined by Sam Levitt Jr. Sam, how are you?
Pretty good right now. Everything's going quite well here at spring training. It's a beautiful sunny day here at spring training. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Who are you going to be looking forward to seeing today?
Well, Fernando Tatis Jr. playing right field is a great thing for the San Diego Padres. And Manny Machado, hopefully he can come back pretty soon.
Sammy, any other insight on the 2024 season? What do you expect from the Pods this year?
Well, I expect there to be a lot of self-doubt for the San Diego Padres, but hopefully they can dig their way up into the postseason.
Sam, good talking to you, buddy.
Nice talking to you.
Have a good one.
I just texted
You texted Sammy. Sammy, the kid's here. Max is here.
We're going to find you,
with him,
and we'll get
Don't wander right now.
You can go wander.
You can go wander a little bit. We'll be out there
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Oh
well, we got like 3 minutes left in our show. Annie and Elston are coming up. I want to set the stage for tomorrow, which will be our last day here in Peoria, Arizona. Scheduled to appear, and we can't promise you an exact time, and obviously everything always is.
We can't even promise you that it's going to happen.
Subject to change. Like this
Don't
is
get
not
mad.
a money back guarantee. But Joe Musgrove,
free. Radio's free. Don't forget.
Jackson Merrill, possibly Xander Bogaerts, maybe Fernando Tatis Jr. I think that's looking good, and almost certainly Manuel Arturo Machado.
Can't wait, man.
Tomorrow.
Can't wait to talk to all those guys.
Pretty much the greatest Padres interview day that we could come up with for the history of Ben and Woods.
Yeah.
And we got a good chance of pulling it off tomorrow.
No doubt.
That's when you don't want to miss. Not that you do miss generally, but sometimes you can have a little extra listening. And tomorrow's one of those days just to make sure you get a full 4 hours in of Ben and Woods.
Take the day off. Take the day off work. Sit home, watch Ben and Woods on YouTube, listen to Ben and
Call
Woods on
in sick, whatever you got to do.
Whatever you got to do. You got
work,
personal days.
just don't pay attention to the work.
That's stealing money.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's bad.
But everyone does it a little bit,
No,
right?
I don't. Never.
Work a little later then. Stay an extra hour or two at the end of the day to make up for your less productive hours while you were listening to Ben and Woods.
Yeah, but we do a 4-hour show, so you have to stay 4 hours later. Why don't you just take the day off? Personal days are there for a reason, and cuddle up, watch some YouTube, listen to the radio.
Early in the year, you probably still have that flex time off.
And we all of our time is flex. Take as much time as you want. Not really though.
Dipping into the PTO already early in the year. It's not even March yet. You want to make sure you save some of that for later in the year.
That's true. What's for lunch today?
That's a good question. We're going back. We went to Chompy's yesterday.
That place was awesome.
Which was very good.
Did you like yours?
I did.
It was really
had a
tasty.
chicken BLT minus the T.
We could
don't
go
like tea?
to
I don't like
Portillo's, the Chicago place with the dogs and the beef sandwiches. It was pretty good. I went there when you were at fantasy camp.
After
without
that pizza last night, I need
little too
something
heavy?
a little
All
more
right.
bland. I think it did not agree with me. It's really
Don't go crazy. We've got a big dinner tonight.
That's a good
we
point.
do.
Although,
chains.
I will say you never feel that full. I mean, you get full, but then you're hungry again later. That's the stereotype with Chinese food.
Go tweet us. What is the skipper's order tonight at PF Chang's?
Guessing. I mean,
guess.
Well, I think the awkwardness is, generally it's shared plates, in the middle. And
I don't like to do that. I like to get
but
my
that's
own
what you do.
entree.
No.
We get the lettuce wraps
Yeah,
and
you share
some
the
stuff
lettuce
at the
wraps,
beginning.
and I
But
want my
then
own
everybody get
Mongolian
their own
beef.
I
entree.
love, when you go and you have the lazy Susan
know,
in the
you
middle,
like the-
and everyone gets a scoop
I
of
know you like
everything.
that.
You get to try
I
everything.
know.
Get the big fried rice, and
We
everyone
joked
shares
about
the
taking him
entire
to
thing.
Korean barbecue where you grill your own
It's a
meat
lot of
at the
work,
table.
dude.
Just
But-
have Mike do all the grilling for
Can you
us.
imagine? All right, Skip, let's see what you got, bud.
You're in charge.
All right, don't screw it up.
Can I get some more pork?
Yeah.
Chilton. I'm excited. I'm excited. You should get some good
Yeah,
stories.
we're going somewhere where he doesn't have to cook the meal for us.
Yeah.
It's probably good. All right.
Let's
I don't
go
hear,
back to
I don't
that
hear
place. I
anything in
don't
my
hear
ears, but I
anything
feel like
either.
we've got to be
We
near
got
the
like
end
a
of the
minute.
show here. We got the last minute here of the show. All right, Annie and Elston will be coming up next. We will rejoin you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. We're going to head out to the backfields again. You got the Padres and the Royals coming up this afternoon, so get some observations on Yu Darvish going to be on the mound.
Yeah,
Michael
buddy.
Wacha,
Michael Wacha.
former friend, will be pitching against the Padres for the Kansas City Royals this afternoon. We'll have a full report for you tomorrow morning. For Frank Marchese back in our studio, Italian Paul.
Great job, buddy.
For Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. From all of us here at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long.